How's it going, everyone? Welcome to a very tired episode of No Excuses on YouTube.com with two of your favorite show hosts, Ara still.
And volatile and no Fern because Fern is busy doing Fern things. That is to say, he's busy working and arranging things to for to be putting on the market and their business and demolishing some stuff, and basically he's got RL stuff to do that he can't get out of. So it's just us. Well, it's me and what's left of Ari, I guess.
Yeah, I caught the mega sick this week.
Yeah, he not doing so good.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm trying my best here, but I got no gas. This is maybe a short show. It's definitely going to be a filler show. Um, where we're just gonna kind of go through the big highlights that have jumped out at us throughout the week and probably wrap it up pretty quick because I just do not have the energy to come up with entertaining topics for y'all the entire show.
Highlights are sort of overselling it. I don't think that they were very high.
Nope. So I think I can close that now. Close that now. Close that. Open that. That I'm just doing some last minute setup because this was not the week you wanted me running the rig, but this is what we got. Okay. So we're doing the skeleton key dungeon to try and get Vaul a piece of gear. Um, or not a piece of gear, a quest item he needs from in here. We died, or he died on the boss last time because we aggroed an extra boss that was hiding behind a wall, and so we couldn't have him complete the quest last
It
week.
could have gone better. Yes, indeed. I've allowed my character to become altogether too fragile by basically tunnel visioning, improving certain skills instead of committing to the much longer and more boring path of improving my stats.
But
So,
but you do throw fire everywhere.
it's true, I do throw fire everywhere. Unfortunately, I pop like an overripe melon when I get hit.
It's like that dude in the Final Fantasy quest line for Children of Relt. That sound effect. Yeah. So
But
stuff.
yeah, we're gonna do our best. It's gonna be, well, our best might not be very much, since I'm not feeling particularly inspired today, let alone sufficiently inspired to be the driving force of the show. But if you'd like to get involved with the show, you can do so by sending us email at noexcusesvtw@gmail.com. You can follow us on the Twitter at noexcusesvtw. Or what did you do? My goodness me. Or you can find us on our Discord server, which you can get to by clicking on the link that will be provided in the description underneath the show archive on YouTube. Yes, indeed.
Oh, I'm dead.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah, I can't come
We're off
back in.
to a great start. I'm like totally surrounded and cornered, so no, I had like every dot in the world on me. That went very poorly.
Right. Well, how many skeleton keys do I got in my bag? Because we got to reload the map, do it again. I've got. I have to go on my Arcanist to pull some skeleton keys. Actually, can I just make some? Do I have the materials to make any?
Sure don't.
Where's the. Here.
Takes blood, right? I haven't gotten blood drops in ages.
Yeah, I might have some for my other characters laying around. I got 4 bloods. I can make a few skelly keys. So yeah, okay, got a few skelly keys. We have to remake the game, I guess. Give me just a moment before we set. I will exit the main menu, and you can remake the session. And try again.
Yep. Hold on, I'll just dump the loot that I got in that short and rapidly aborted run. But yeah, I think that we may have already set the tone for the show going forward. That is to say, train wreck.
Yeah, I just don't have the juice in my system to be able to play well. So hopefully we can mumble our way through it. Maybe.
Slightly above our level, skeleton key might not be the appropriate level of challenge. Okay, new session is up.
We'll give it one more shot. If it doesn't go well, we can always come back when we're higher level and go pop it over. Refresh the server list.
More bleed-based two-handed rifles. What class even uses that?
Don't know.
Harry has joined the game.
Okay, take 2. We'll give it one more shot. If it fails spectacularly, we will abort and go.
Find something simpler to do.
We'll go to the middle of the city and go do the actual final dungeon.
Is that easier than this dungeon?
Significantly, yes. Because we can Zerg rush that one.
Oh right, yeah. The problem with this one is that we only get one chance to not screw it up.
I don't know if we can Zerg rush the final boss, but on veteran they don't regen too much HP between deaths, so we should be able to get it down eventually. Yeah, last week when we were doing this, I was a bit more on point. I was looking for the problem mobs and able to pay attention to all that. I can't do that this week. I just brain ain't all there.
Oops, there is nothing here. I cannot navigate.
So yeah, I have evolved my shaman from just a single whap to have spin to win to go with it. So continuing the theme of no pets, no totems, no anything like that. Just hit stuff with big stick and spin with big stick. Drop a portal right here. Oh, I forgot summon crap. In the off chance we are successful, I do want clear bags so we can actually make a bit of a profit in here. But yeah. So, we don't have a fern for a week. How was your week at work?
Pretty normal, I feel. Like, I don't think things went too badly, all told. It seemed reasonably stable, and I didn't have to do any egregiously late nights. We do have one sort of fly in the ointment of there was a guy who decided he was just going to call in sick every day this week. And honestly, I don't really credit it. This is just the pitfalls of extremely strong worker protections, I suppose you could say. It's not Serathus was asking us to turn up our volume, but I haven't turned anything up, so
I will.
did you turn something up?
No, I can. Is he saying?
Well, he says much better now. The problem is that I haven't changed anything. I didn't even see his message.
I can.
So
I can jack Vol up a little bit on my end. Yeah, we didn't do a proper sound test before this because if I base my levels off of sound tests when I'm sick, it's going to throw off all future updates. So give us real time feedback on sound levels, and I can adjust them.
yeah. Anyway, yeah. So I've got this sort of problem child that I've got to deal with now, who's
You already in the hole?
yes. I was just sort of waiting and being attacked by this giant mouth on legs. okay, mouth on legs dead. But yeah, it's one of the things that makes me regret becoming the manager is that, you know, it makes me now responsible for dealing with people who are just being problems. Like, I'm not. Oh, you're all the way over there. I'm not particularly well versed in the dealing with people problems. Technical problems I can deal with. People problems, it's like, oh my goodness, why can't you behave like an adult? Is my normal reaction to most of the things that I encounter. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I thought that people generally grow up, but apparently that's not the case. Most people don't grow up unless they're forced to. um, but yeah, things at least at work for now seem to be behaving in a fairly normal kind of way, not perfectly predictable. And we've got, you know, we've got a curveball of doing some extra work for one of our they're not really much of an active client of ours, but they're sort of a long-time associate who have helped us out on some occasions in the past, and I wanted to try and repay the favour, so I've taken on a bit of a challenging chunk of extra work, but it probably won't pay off very well either, but it's useful to have them have a good relationship with them because they have helped us out in the past when we've been in a pinch, and that's the sort of relationship that you maintain if you can. But yeah, it's just the usual stuff for me though. Not quite at the level where I feel like I've got the freedom to, you know, come home and play video. I'm still in the position where I could squeeze like half an hour of video in the evening if I tried really hard before passing out from exhaustion. But it's I feel like I'm making progress in at least some respect as far as sort of normalizing things are concerned. Um, I got sort of very very close to having things set up in such a way that I thought, oh well, everything is going to work now. Before, you know, running into another curveball in the form of somebody resigning who I didn't want to resign, but unfortunately, money printer go burr, and the government can offer really large salaries as a result. So yeah, not much that can be done about that really. Um, yeah, so we're not quite at the point that I want to be staffing wise. I need
Oh,
to.
oh, okay,
I,
murdered.
I,
Good.
I need to. I can't open a thing for you, so.
I gotta take the space mouth back. It's okay.
Um,
We're not in the Skelly Key area yet.
I accidentally face pulled the boss. Okay, this is gonna be a bit messy.
Yeah. Last time we were coming through here, I was being very careful about those humanoid mobs that explode. This time, I'm having trouble discerning them from the rest of it because my head is all kinds of fuzz right now.
But yeah, I feel like I'm close to getting postured such that things are not all terrible, and I'll be able to adopt a more normal routine before too long. But not quite there yet. Need to do some more hiring. Need to find a way to cut loose people who aren't fulfilling their commitments. Much easier if you're in a at will employment location, which I'm not. So yeah, I don't know. I understand. I do understand the idea of prioritizing your family over work. I understand the importance of that and so on. However, prioritizing your family over work does not mean that you sign an employment contract and then just completely frustrate your employer. Like there's still, you know, you need to be at least as good as your word as far as doing your work is concerned. Where's my aura? I'm not Trash Rabbit.
Now you are Trash Rabbit.
But yeah, it's just management frustrations. I'm in some sense I don't regret in the abstract taking on the challenge of trying to be the lab manager. However, I really don't feel like I'm well cut out for it. Like the sorts of problems that I have to solve now are not problems that I find satisfying to solve. They're just problems that I'm relieved when they're over. So, yeah, I mean, you can't have everything your way. Like, you're not going to get the perfect 10 every time on everything that you try and do. That's not the way the real world works. Sometimes you've got to do things you don't particularly enjoy. But, yeah, I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure how well cut out I am for this type of thing. Because I don't actually like being a disciplinarian. I don't like being that person who has to, tell people where to get off all the time. And I tend to try and be too nice to my employees when I should probably be stricter with them than I am. Even although it's sort of muddled by the fact that the entirety of society is in this nauseating posture of not wanting to hurt anybody's feelings, which is frankly just not conducive to being successful at anything at all.
Well, it also makes being the person that has to hurt people's feelings by telling them they done goofed way harder.
Yeah, because you're always going to be the villain. Like, you're not going to be doing your job anymore. You're just going to be a villain. And that's all people will see you as.
Like in my experience, it turns you into somebody that's personally attacking them in their eyes instead of somebody that just wants to get the results better.
But that's ultimately a problem with not understanding responsibility generally. Like, the only reason you would take that personally is if you didn't really have a concept of professional responsibility to begin with.
I would say most people don't.
Which is a depressing thought, really.
That's the
Oh, that
thing.
is a cheap trick.
Yeah,
That is a cheap trick.
when I clicked that thing last time, that's what spawned all the dudes.
Well, it spawned a very similar looking crystal, which just happens to explode. That's what it did this time. But yeah, it's I don't know. I don't like the way things are. Like, I generally prefer if people are going to be straight with me, and I sort of assumed that other people want to not be mucked around as well. But no, it seems that the reality is most people want to be coddled. It's not everybody. Those who are reliable workers are also those people who know not to take personally things that are just, well, I need to communicate to you the critical facts of how to get our job done right so that none of us get in trouble. There are people who do understand that, but there are also people who think that they're doing a favor by coming to work, which is not a mentality I understand. Like, you realize I pay you people, right? Like, I'm giving you money to do this. This is not you being nice to me. I'm not obliged to be nice back in response. If I choose to be nice, it's because I want to, not because you're entitled to it. I don't know. It's people seem to have very strange attitudes that I don't fully understand. But maybe that's just me being autismal. Maybe part of the normal package is that you do understand these things, and I just happen to be missing some things. But yeah, it's been an experience, and it will continue to be an experience until they fire me for not making enough money or whatever. Because realistically, I have not made it my priority to make lots and lots of money. I've made it my priority to keep my workforce intact so that we don't go bankrupt immediately due to a failure of ability to deliver. Like, we can work our way up to doing well as a business, but you can't work your way out of complete bankruptcy if you screw up badly enough.
Know that feel. Suddenly get there, check the company finances, and realize there's a $60,000 loan nobody told you about.
Yeah, there's a lot that can go wrong. Like, I'm trying to build a body of knowledge amongst the people who work for me, which permit them to comprehend the difference between things that are problem and things that are not. Because this is the big issue that people need to understand much of the time. Oh, health is not doing good. Let me back off for a bit. And currently there's just a lot riding on me all the time. Like, the those who have the skill and motivation amongst my technicians, they're making good progress. However, at present, a lot still rides on me to know, to perceive threats and opportunities without any kind of assistance. And even today we had a bit of a hiccup where something got issued due to the instability of the IT edifice, basically. And I'm going to have to come up with contingencies for it. I don't know what they will look like or how to execute on them, but it's something that's necessary. And there's nobody who can help me with that. That person doesn't exist. It's me or nothing. So that's basically how things are right now. And things are getting better. That's why I'm not like absolutely dead on my feet. Like, it was quite an interesting surprise for me to, like, my last day of the work week is Saturday. I continue to work Tuesday to Saturday because it's just more effective for keeping the staffing covered the way I need it to be. But it was an interesting experience, sort of like waking up after a normal night's sleep, having gone to bed on Saturday evening, because normally it's like, okay, so it's the end of the week, you're going to crash for 12 hours because you're too exhausted to sleep a normal night's sleep. But I slept a normal night's sleep for the first time in a long time last night, which means that I'm no longer in that position where I'm almost non-functionally exhausted by the time I make it to the end of the work week, which I'm going to consider a significant improvement of where I was before. Oh my goodness, everything wants me dead. Why you do this?
Got so many friends behind you.
Oh yeah, they've been spawning constantly.
I cleared everything in the room that we were going into. Like, what's going
Oh,
on?
it's continuing to be a party back here and has been continuously without a break. I don't know what's going on up there. Somebody's mad.
All right. Well, I think the ambush is done.
Yeah, I'm still in the situation where it's been 3 years since I saw my family, and I I can't take any kind of holidays at all because things will implode if I'm suddenly not there. But I'm working my way. I'm working my way along. I'm hoping that by about November I'll be able to take a holiday because I will have managed to impart enough knowledge to enough people that they can at least keep the essentials operational without my explicit oversight.
There's something in there that hits really, really hard.
I've noticed, believe me. Oh my. Oh my, my, my. Where did they come from? This is not the way. Yeesh. It was rough. It was rough.
Oh, get anything fun? Oh,
Nope.
few greens, few blues.
I didn't get any blues.
Well, at least it came with a treasure chest. And a blue, a doom touch.
Oops. Angry pillars. So the way out or down?
This is onwards.
Okay. Yeah, so for me, work is still tough, but it's getting better little by little. I don't know what I'm going to even do once I take a holiday other than go and visit my family. And I'll probably end up spending a lot of time on the laptop and on the phone trying to make sure that things don't burn down. But yeah, I just need to basically build a level of confidence in the other more senior people that they're willing to actually do things, because most people, like, they don't feel like they understand enough to make a call on anything because they don't know what the implications will be. So yeah, and the thing is that in a sort of compliance work that I do, for a lot of what I do is sort of like compliance related. It's kind of hard for a person to learn what needs to be done in situation X if they haven't seen it before, and you can't sort of like induce those situations to teach somebody. They only happen naturally, and ideally not at all. So yeah, it's kind of troublesome to do training in that way. Right.
I hear you. Just got yeah. I just I'm at my energy level that I'm currently at.
Was that you, or is that the pillar? What's doing that?
I think that's the pillar. That ain't me. I think we saved the enemy totem for after we get the quest item.
Yeah. Otherwise, we have to clear down here again.
Yeah,
Oh my.
there's a boss in there. That mess somewhere.
My health. My health. I'm going to back off and let my constitution recover my health. Or at least that's what my theory was, but it doesn't seem to be working.
You gotta get really
There we go.
far out there. I'm playing hit and run here. Oh, another boss spawned.
Oh, what? Something one-shot me.
Cooped on.
Yes. Instantly. I just popped. So another completely unprofitable run down into that hellhole.
We can put it on the back burner. If I had more of a brain and could actually do my deeps, we could probably figure it out. But I don't have brain on to pour out max damage right now. So
Yeah.
I think we go to the hole. Go fight the space vagina.
That is allegedly easier than this, anus of the universe that we've just crawled into. But yeah. Anyway, I'm making slow progress back to a world in which I can have more time to myself, I suppose. I've already more or less got my weekends back to the extent that, I can actually do something, and firing up my work laptop doesn't have to be the first thing that I do every day, which is what was used to be the case, because I've got now somebody who's trained to the level that all of the routine tasks that involve, this needs to be approved and that needs to be checked, and that can all be handled by somebody other than me now. At least on for the simplest cases. Empowered molten walkers. Pretty sure I've got like 2 of those already, but we'll see if this one's better.
It had fire on it.
This one is actually way worse than the one I've currently got.
That
That this one has better skills on it. No,
oh.
hold on, it doesn't. 32, 29, 32, 27, 17, 15, 5, 45, 40, 34, 30. This one might be very, very, very slightly better in a couple of respects. So I'll keep that one. That will be there. Yeah, gaming wise, nothing. I don't think I've really done any other than what we played of Grim Dawn during the day off that I took, because I did take an extra day off for the Solemnity of the Assumption of Our Lady. And so that's why we have made progress to what I am reliably informed as most of the way toward the end of the launch campaign of Grim Dawn. And I still don't know anything about the story. So I guess I've been sort of trying to keep tabs on the way the story goes on one of my other characters, which is two-hand Ungabunga Bone Harvest Necromancer, which is what I intended to do as just well, I'll just read the story on this one. But I keep getting distracted by the Ungabunga and not really paying much attention to the story, even though I'm trying, because it's like, oh well, I'll just read that note after I go and Ungabunga this group of mobs here, and then I completely forget about the note.
Yeah. All right, to the necropolis.
So yeah, I haven't been having much luck following the story. I still don't really know what's going on, other than everything in the world is apparently pretty bad.
It's just the world is Fubar. Demons are everywhere. Make them dead.
That's pretty much the outside. I actually better take points in a class. I'll add Inquisitor, since Inquisitor seems universally compatible.
Yeah, there are
Yeah.
very few classes Inquisitor won't splash with.
I can't get down the staircase. There we go. Right.
Yep. So most of my gaming was spent during that time playing Grim Dawn with you. I was very busy at work and then sick. So aside from the bit of solo Grim Dawn I did on my Arcanist, that's been about all my video gaming time too. But yeah, you notice we're having, despite all the shoes, we have those are personal shoes and not issues with the game. So we're still having fun with our video game, unlike a bunch of other people that are complaining about their current ARPGs and toys.
Yeah, like this game it seems to just do everything I need from the ARPG genre. It's like all of my purposes are served herein. It's not offending me in any particular way.
Yeah, I mean, you could probably nitpick it if you really wanted, but it's just so much better than what else is out there, and it's a fucking finished video game.
Yes, a rare commodity in this day and age. It seems to more or less work.
Yeah,
And yeah, it's and what's more, it seems to be developed by people who are autismal enough to keep releasing content for it years after it's relevant.
yeah.
So
The two expansion packs that are out for it will double the length of the game, at least, and then the oh, what you call it? They're having their big dev live stream on the 29th to discuss all the changes coming in the 1.2 patch.
yeah, looking forward to that. It sounds like it's got some quality of life stuff that I will appreciate, even with my limited understanding. I can't jump walls, so don't expect me to.
I will do it by accident because I have my jump set to maximum length. So if you see me go through a wall I clearly didn't mean to, that's why. Yeah, so I have a medal that is a dual wield ranged attack medal for dual wielding pistols right now on my Unga Bunga two hander here, but it has fire and lightning damage on it, and it's epic. And I figure I'm not gonna get anything better than that. Am I disconnecting?
Disconnecting. I don't know what you mean.
Okay, there we go. It caught up. I hit a mega lag spike in game.
Oh no. Why everything poison?
So even though this medal has absolutely nothing in terms of its special stats to work with me, it's got lightning damage. So I
It
went
ain't
ahead and
nothing.
yeah, so I went ahead and slapped the movement glyph on it, so you can see me hop around every 4 seconds.
Yeah, other than that, I haven't done much in the way of gaming. FGO's sort of on a holiday week, barring and following on from the end of the Neurofest. I think the new summer event will be up next, judging by my memory of the way the schedule goes. which I'll probably pay a bit more attention to since it's a new event, and I'll want to read the story. And if story events tend to not be overly taxing, although that has been different in the past. The summer events tend to be okay, largely because historically they've just allocated more time to them. Like they've typically been 3-week events instead of 2-week events, and that just makes them have a lot more room for you to complete things without feeling time pressured. Although occasionally in the past they have done things which were, where are you going?
I don't know. I'm lagging pretty bad because I guess because OBS is trying to help.
Right, because you just led us straight back to a dead end, didn't you?
I'm currently fighting enemies on my screen.
Oh, you're just not as far as I can see. Ah, now I can see. I think that maybe the game is still taking place for both of us, but we can't necessarily perceive each other in real time.
Yeah, it's I'm currently attacking enemies that are clearly still alive on my screen, but they're not dying.
You live in the richest country in the West. How do you have the worst internet?
I don't know. All their health bars are empty, even though they're still alive.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I see a bunch of enemies that are alive, but I have done damage to them, and all their health bars have gone poof. They're just kind of chilling in that room over there. Same thing here. Everything here is clearly dead, but its health bar is empty, but it's standing up alive and kind of just
port out and come back.
Yeah, it's kind of just dancing.
Although I believe I've tried porting out and coming back to fix that bug myself, and it didn't work. But we'll see. Oh, my game did not like that. It got very upset when you left the area.
Okay, oh, no, they're still dancing.
Are there any repercussions if you actually leave and join?
I don't drop a portal. We'll see. There shouldn't be, since we're not in the middle of a quest.
Hidden spoils, let me through.
So yeah, there's a few issues with peer-to-peer hosting.
Well, I think that issues with your upline more than anything else.
Yeah, especially when I'm trying to do OBS at the same time. So like it was fine when I was hosting with Fern doing OBS, but
are you even on fiber, or is everything in your part of the world still running on the copper?
I should be on fiber, but you never know. They could, for all I know, the telecom companies could be lying to me, and I could still technically be on fiber or copper.
Well, I mean, you should know if you're on fiber because you'll have a fiber network box in your house somewhere.
I mean, we have a modem, but it's just like
no, not a modem. Like if it plugs into a conventional phone wall jack, then you're not on fiber.
Oh yeah, it may not be on fiber then, because it's plugged into the wall. The modem is plugged into the wall.
Like the way it works, say in Australia, is that they have fiber sort of provisionally. It's just that it doesn't go to the houses; it only goes to the nearest node.
Yeah.
So most of the network is fiber, but it's not all fiber. In New Zealand, you can actually see if you unplug your fiber box, you can see the light shining out the end of the cable. Like, that's how you know you're definitely on fiber.
Yeah, I'd have to go unplug the wire and see what's up with it. Yeah, this is one of the problems with not running, still not living on my own anymore. I have to I'm living with my parents at the moment, so I'm just not in control of that stuff.
Well, I mean, on the upside, it probably allows you to save an awful lot more money than I can. The cost of living here is brutal, and rent is brutal. Although I've been blessed with a rent rate that is basically a song compared to what other people pay for having their own place. But yeah, I've been seeing a lot of spam on social media lately about Canada's cost of living having apparently spiraled massively out of control.
I could believe it.
Like I don't know what's going on there specifically, but over the past couple weeks, the amount of posting about Canadian cost of living has just shot through the roof. I mean, they still keep electing Trudeau, so I mean, I may not believe in elections really. I'm not really a fan or supporter of democracy as a concept, since I think this fundamentally doesn't work. But the uh, I can believe Canadians legitimately voting Trudeau in again and again and again after he continues to ruin their country. Like, it just seems like the sort of thing that Canadians will do based on the way that they operate
Mm-hmm.
and the sorts of things that they pride themselves on, which is niceness. Is possibly the least useful attribute in the world.
Yeah, the hosers. Canada, eh?
Yeah, I mean that. I still occasionally see Canadians. No, actually, I don't see Canadians doing it. I see Americans talking about how the Canadians are far superior because they've got public health.
Yeah,
It's like,
I never hear anything about a country that has a public healthcare system talking up how great it is. I'm like,
well, the POMs will. You'll find POMs that talk about the NHS, but a lot of them are not saying that because they believe the NHS is good, but because the media basically tells them that they have a patriotic duty to support the NHS.
yeah, it seems like the NHS is the Britpong's sacred government edifice that just cannot be criticized.
Well, it's one of those things. It's sort of like proof shots, right? Like, you can't criticize it because so much is invested in it, and like the reason why the British no longer have an empire is the NHS. Like, the Americans paid for the NHS in exchange for the British giving up the empire. Is basically an oversimplification, but that's really what the case was. And so basically, the NHS is the icon of the fall of the British Empire. And having given up their empire for that, they kind of can't afford to talk it down because it makes them look really, really bad. But the NHS is pretty much defunct. The New Zealand health system used to be, passable good, but it was passable good in the way that every public health system is initially passable good. Like, the NHS was good when it launched as well, and I'm sure the Canadian health system was good when it launched, but these things don't last beyond launch because they only can work under those launch conditions, and then as soon as people see an opportunity to make some money, it falls apart.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is it they say that there's something like, I think it's something like 1 in 13 Britons is on the wait list for the NHS. Some ridiculously high number,
Yeah,
and it's not much better here. Like, there's there's something like a shortfall of like over 100% of hospital beds in New Zealand or whatever, because the health system can't keep up with the forcible population increase that has been introduced over the past few governments. That, yeah, there's a lot of problems with public health, a lot of problems. I mean, the American system is widely denounced as being bad because it leaves out poor people or whatever is the usual claim. But
never mind. That's a abject lie, and just no hospital can turn you away if you're in need of care. It's against the
But
law.
let's say that they could. It still wouldn't matter if the context wasn't America being like the worst place on earth, which it basically is. And, like, when it comes to the displacement between where they could be, where they have been, and where they currently are, America has fallen further than anywhere else. There are lots of places which are strictly worse than America, but they weren't much better once upon a time. they didn't lose as much. It's all sort of like degeneration of society and the family and religiosity, which causes it. Like if you've got strong religiosity in your country, you don't need public health. You simply don't, because charity will take care of anybody who needs it, and that historically was the case. That's why if you go back enough decades, you'll find that every single hospital in the world practically is a Catholic hospital, because they're being run as charitable institutions. If they make money, so much the better, but they're being run for the purposes of charity. And I don't mean charity in the secular sense. I mean that they are being run for the purposes of the love of fellow man. Like that's the foundational principle of them. In America, that's not a problem, because that wouldn't be a problem because you've got a very, very wealthy and very generous historically populace, and people who want like boutique care can obtain it by paying through the nose to those entrepreneurs who are selling like top dollar health services of like the most sort of, exceptionally experimental kind. So, those who are really, really wealthy and want really, really, really exceptional top tier personal attention healthcare, they can afford it. And, the rest of the people will be taken care of by, the rest of the health system. And since it's being run for, functionally charitable purposes, it's not going to be focused on nickeling and diming people out of existence or anything like that. That's like sort of like the milieu in which that type of thing can historically operate, but that's not. Why do we have two portals here?
One of these I think this one goes back to the surface and creates a shortcut.
So we want to do that?
Yeah, sure. We can make the shortcut and then go right back down.
Okay.
Yeah, up to the board.
But
I think it'll go away when we reload the session. By the way, so
the world in which nobody has a family anymore or whatever, and healthcare is now dependent on the largesse of the state to whatever extent that it can bleed money out of the populace to fund it. Like that can't function long term, because it's not built on a substrate that encourages public health in the literal sense. Like the public will not be healthy because they don't exist in a healthy environment. That healthy environment being one with strong families and communities. Like that doesn't exist anymore. Therefore, the health system can't operate, because it will get instantaneously overtaxed in any environment where you've got like a highly disruptive societal structure. Is that a giant vagina?
yeah, you'd think I was kidding.
Is this Borderlands?
Yeah.
Good grief. Why are bosses always like this?
Well, I mean, the developers are Western.
It's true.
I mean, we'll be fighting Wendigos next expect.
I don't know. What is it about people's sensibilities that seems to? Oh my goodness, died. Am I able to come back into this?
Yeah, I think you can circuit.
I don't know why
I can't
there
drop a
seems
portal
to be this...
though, so you might have to take the portal down here.
Oh my goodness, it's gonna be so far. I don't know why everything seems to converge back on vaginas with teeth.
Maybe it's subconscious, just men understanding that
It's...
that sticking your dick in crazy is a bad idea.
Well, these people are crazy, and their god is a giant vagina with teeth. But yeah, I don't particularly like state health, and I don't particularly like the way in which private health currently operates. Like, I mean, I know in New Zealand, pretty much everybody who can afford it takes out health insurance. Public health system be damned. Like, even I have it. As poor as I am, I still have health insurance in a country with full public health care, simply because I know relying on the public health system is far too dangerous. You are going to regret it if you try. End of story. You will always find people who are like, oh, but I've used the health system numerous times and I was always fine. And yeah, there are those people, but you see, the people that weren't fine, they're dead now. They don't have any more problems.
Okay. Speaking of dead, now we have eradicated the giant space vagina.
Is this a one-time boss, or can you farm this guy?
You can farm this guy. Though his loot's not super great.
Yeah, but you might be able to make some money off of it.
Yeah. You get one less chest when you do him from now on, because one of the chests in here is a one-time chest.
Right. Oh my goodness, it's leaking.
Yeah, you might want to go see a gynecologist about that.
Right. We out, I guess.
Back to the
Yeah, that digression aside.
back to the fort.
Right. That's basically the main campaign for Grim Dawn, is it?
Yep, I think I just accidentally went back inside the sanctum instead of going through my portal.
Yeah. Yeah, Seraph seems to have had a family with bad experience with public health as well. Yeah, I mean, it's not like you can't it's not like you can't have troubles with private health as well. It's just that it tends to go very badly for them if they make a habit of it. Whereas with public health, nobody will ever lose their job. Um, it's I think it's also reasonable to say that another major culprit in these scenarios is almost the very concept of malpractice insurance.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you just think about what that entails, really, it's like fundamentally, you're just saying that, oh, I can take out insurance so that I don't get in trouble when I'm a terrible, negligent doctor. Like, why should you be insured against that? It doesn't make you less negligent. You still screwed up in a dramatic fashion in a way that is going to have, immeasurable repercussions for somebody else. Like, why? Why is that a thing? Why is that even legal? How can anybody, like, because I happen to know from what people have told me that one of the key things that they do in medical school, if you're if you're training to become a doctor, is basically, oh, have I got a cutscene? I've got a cutscene. Is they basically brainwash you about you being a morally superior person to everybody else. Hold on, what is he doing?
I don't
Nothing
know.
about this sounds. Nothing about this seems good.
I must have seen
Like,
this cutscene before.
this does not seem like the behavior of a good person. What is he doing?
I don't know, because I can't see the cutscene.
I thought bad guys summon those things.
Probably. Take this epic axe we got that's all physical damage and a one-hander. Stick it in the bank.
Is this like the start of the next one or the end of the first one?
I don't know. Normally I am the person to go to if you want somebody to talk to about the story of your video game. But for some reason, when playing this game, I'm just like, I don't really care.
I mean, to some extent, the genre doesn't really necessitate caring that much about the story.
Like, normally I'm all for being all on board, all aboard the story train. But,
Malmouth has been a living nightmare since the Grim Dawn. But is there a place that hasn't been a nightmare since the Grim Dawn?
Mama's kind of even more special. That's the expansion area. Yeah, so while he's in cutscene land, yeah, the problem with in the U.S. anyway, our healthcare has it is private healthcare in so much that you can go buy a private healthcare service and shop around, but especially post Obamacare, the the pharma companies and big corpo have got their fingers all in it and have done everything they can to erect as many smoke and mirrors between you and the final price of whatever it is that you're trying to pay for, so that they can jack up the cost and force you to have healthcare.
Yeah, I was actually really incredulous to find just how many deceptive marketing tactics and sales tactics are just completely allowed in the United States. Like it's literally illegal to not include your sales tax in your sticker price in New Zealand.
Mm.
Like, why should that be legal? Why should it be legal to put a literally incorrect price on your product?
Let me tell you, as the guy that's got to go through and calculate sales tax for everybody, oh boy, I hate it. I wish it was just rolled into the final price.
But yeah, like unfortunately, the sort of like the Lolbert dream of the absolute free market health system, it only works properly for a whole society so long as the society is healthy, like so many other things. And that's always going to be the problem with these things. It's like that you can have state healthcare in a healthy society, but you can't have a healthy society and have an overweening state. Like, there's too many incompatibilities here. Things don't work like that.
Yeah, we ain't gonna be able to make the perfect society until Jesus decides it's time to make one.
Yeah, that's just the way of things. And this is the whole utopian dream thing. Really, it's always the case that there's always going to be people who think that they can magically make things perfect, and it never operates that way in real life. What are we completing? I don't even know what's going on here.
Oh, I
You're
accepted.
just
I accepted.
filling my inventory with rubbish.
Oh, the giant pendants and little frying pans.
How is a pendant that big?
It's okay. We'll get rid of it real fast.
How does he fit that around his neck? I have two sharpshooters bolt rifles. Which one is better?
All right, you hit level 58, so there's probably some stuff you can equip.
Yeah, I'm looking through to see if there's stuff that I can equip, but I'm not really sure. Physique 645 before I can wear those pants, really? Well, I'll hold on to them. They're pretty good pants. Those are nice gloves, but I can't wear them. Feel like I've seen those before. Do I have the bags already? Maybe. See them. Boots. Don't know. I'll leave them there. Pendant. Vitality damage. Can't really use that either. Sell that. Those. Yeah, I don't want to be at the mercy of our health system, so I have health insurance, albeit quite rudimentary health insurance. As much as I can afford health insurance, sort of thing. But yeah, it might be enough to get me life saving treatment, but that's about it. But at least I won't have to wait 6 months for it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really the thing. Is that you will definitely eventually get treatment from the public health system. The question is whether you will live long enough to get it.
Let's go visit Devil's Crossing and see what's changed.
But yeah, that was originally a Grim Dawn discussion, and then an FGO discussion. So yeah, FGO summer event up next. Hopefully it will be another long one because I don't have the amount of time required to focus farm up. Oh my goodness, what happened here? don't have the time to focus farm up the resources to clear a summer event, especially considering they have 2-part ones. But yeah, I don't think I'm gonna roll on the summer banners this time. It's not like there aren't servants that are good, but I don't think any of them are really impact me that much meta wise. They introduced a new start dash banner. Well, basically, they, in order to try and get people on board, they did a collaboration with HoloLive EN, which was basically Crony, who has played FGO before and doesn't really know that much about it, and Ina, who is Leviathan with NP5 Jolter, discussing FGO for about an hour or so. But the main purpose was to promote it, of course, and it's the point of these collaborations. And they announced at the end stuff that people who are enthusiasts already know about, but they announced their start dash type promos for this this new attempt to get people to play, which everybody gets a non-limited SSR when they start, and they have a start dash paid GSSR, which will give you a limited from year one as well. So since it's a 12 St. Quartz GSSR, I thought I might as well throw my hat in the ring and see what I get, because I got almost no limiteds from year one because I didn't have the luck or the St. Quartz required. Where are you anyway? Where am I supposed to be going?
Just come to Burwich Village whenever you're ready. But we'll have to make our way north. Level 18
Burwich
zombies.
Village. Burwich Village. Burwich Village.
I have a portal down next to it.
Yeah, so I got out of that. I expected to get burned by it and get somebody that I totally didn't need, but instead I got Nero Bride, who, while not really a top tier servant anymore, is sort of an important enabler for a number of sort of niche, really good farming comps that I didn't have access to before. None of her skills are particularly powerful, which is sort of why she's not really high tier. But she has a combination of sort of like really good, not like extremely good, but really good supporting skills in such a combination that allows her to fill gaps in a lot of compositions where you might otherwise be in a bit of a sticky wicket due to be falling short by say 20 NP charge or something for a particular strategy. That type of thing.
Yeah, I got a lot of Nero Brides because that happened. That the first time that event rolled around,
I got jibbed.
I was kidnapped.
2 shots.
Oh, did you? Oh, yeah, I got a portal down.
I was having a rough time. I don't know where you were.
I was fighting a bunch of Wendigos that were coming to eat me.
I was fighting Dralgar, Keeper of Burwich, so I was having a rough time. But yes, I've never had Nero Bride. I tried rolling on her banner, the first of her banners that came out, and I failed miserably. And I haven't really rolled on any of her banners since, because while she's a meta choice, she's not like the focal point of any meta. Like there's never been a Nero Bride meta. But like I said, she gap fills a lot of, those little situations that you sometimes get where one of the normal meta comps just can't quite work on its own. Nero Bride tends to fill those gaps by adding extra NP charge or extra NP gain or a little bit of extra damage here and there. She's just an extremely good gap filler, and she doesn't become dead weight as soon as she's used her skills as well. She's quite a competent fighter, which is not as important as it used to be, since the current meta is pretty heavily focused around red fast play, compared to previous metas. Like the next most recent meta was blue fast play, it was arts fast play. But where any time you're obliged to use a slow play approach, Neurobride sort of comes into her own because she's more sustainable than the others. Doesn't immediately become worthless as soon as her skills are used. but it's not as important anymore since the pace of the game has gone up, which I think is not strictly, but is largely a bad thing. Unfortunately, there's no sort of getting around it. It's just the way it is. Um, I wish that they hadn't made the sorts of design decisions that led them down that path, but it's sort of a bit late to retract them. Anyway, that's that. Um, Hopefully, I'll be able to build a bit more enthusiasm over a new event. I still keep going back and thinking about Lost Belt 6. In that sense, it's certainly a story that is stuck with me. But what I'm usually thinking about is like I'm not really sure what I think about it. I mean, it's on my mind, but I'm not really sure in what way. It's outrageously popular. Like it's rapidly shot to the top of a lot of people's list of favorite story events in FGO, which that speaks well of it, I suppose. But yeah, I think that it was rolled out at a bit of an awkward pace, among other things. And I think that in retrospect, it's a decent story. I just don't think it's quite as tightly told as it might have been. I feel like there's sort of like a shorter director's cut version that tells a better story,
Yeah.
and due to not dragging so much. But then again, I don't know if my perception of it dragging was due to it actually dragging or due to the weird release schedule.
Yeah, it's also got that bugbear hanging over it, and that we, with our future sight, know how long it's going to be until the next story arc.
Yeah, well, there's also like the why I'm sort of interested for when you eventually play through it is that I will never be able to see what it is like to read that story in one go when it's all been released. Like
There's Seller
I
over
will
here.
never see that because it was released piecemeal, and I read the bits as they came out more or less. I can't find the way in. Oh, there it is. Um, Yeah, I will never be able to have my first read of those chapters back to back to back, and I'm sort of interested as to how that will affect the read of it. Because I think a lot of people probably waited based on what people have said. A lot of people seem to have waited until it was all out, or still haven't read it because it's so long and they need the time to do it. Um, but yeah, it's I'm sort of curious as to how it reads when it's a single story as opposed to 3 acts.
Yeah. So even when I do get back on the FGO train to get caught up on the story, I still got to go through all of Lost Belt 5. So
Yeah,
it's a bit off.
I think I liked Lost Belt 5 a little bit better, but I don't know if it's because it's actually an intrinsically better story in any way. I feel like the pacing was better and the division in the story where you've got the breakpoint for Atlantis Olympus is more natural and more natural breakpoint for a story to take a breather, because it's not really a temporal break. Uh, it's just oh well, we'll stop telling it. We have reached the end of chapter 1, and we'll come back to you in a little bit with chapter 2 type of break. Um, but I felt like it felt more natural to me, and the story the story was more fantastical, and I think it didn't really appeal to a lot of people because it was kind of out there. Um, it was sort of like a wacky story about aliens as opposed to a very, very classic type moon story. Whereas, all of the mumbo jumbo about the reverse side of the world and the fairies and all of that, that's all like real classic type moon deep lore. And it's very, saber face focused, which is also something that appeals to the people who are who are long time into type moon, a lot of them.
I'm gonna
Um,
die. I'm gonna die. I'm
that
gonna die.
thing has a lot of hit points. If you're a human, how are you so damn tough? But yeah, it's I liked the Atlantis one a little bit better. I felt like it had more this more straight up drama to it in some ways. What killed me? My health bar was full.
I think you stood in fire that was not friendly fire on the ground.
Academy for very long. because my health bar vanished. It didn't drain, or at least that was not my perception of it.
Oh, I got the portal down. Ah, the
My
plants.
core. Where's my cores?
Go away, plants. Oh right,
Can you even break plants?
there are just vines around here that'll just whap you.
Yeah, I've noticed.
They hurt. Well, some of them
Well,
hurt.
yes,
I'm
that
not.
is how they do.
I'm not sure what determines why some of them hurt so bad and some of them don't. When? Boop, 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 boop. Yeah, I'll get to it eventually. I'm totally in the wrong brain for a deep dive into Type Moon because
You're not in the right brain for anything right now.
yeah, I am. I'm
Okay,
doing.
you're more in the right brain for staring blankly and drooling out of one corner of your mouth.
Yeah, my brain just ain't working right now.
But yeah. So 22nd, the next big release for
There's a secret
Blue
area down
Archive.
here.
Okay, well, I'm trying to get back through the door. If those guys out there would let me, that would be great. Yeah, next big release for Blue Archive will be on the 22nd. Server time, I guess. What is that? Oh, it's another offhand. Fire damage offhand. That's just disappointing.
At least it's fire.
Fire damage offhand with +1 to all demolitionist skills. But
It's
I
getting
can't
there.
hold it.
It's starting to figure it out.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to seeing how that goes. I don't know how much story is attached to this one or whether it's going to be mainly like event and play focused. Sort of hard to say. Presumably they're going to be moving forward with the story. It's a lot in play right now where the Blue Archive story is at. For some reason, I don't feel so badly about this being released in 3 chunks. It doesn't seem. I suppose it's because the story is like punctuated by major events as opposed to sort of like a D&D campaign in Fairyland, which is kind of how Avalon LaFay plays out. Like I
Yeah.
could totally see them running Avalon LaFay as a campaign, like Nasu and his group of tabletop buddies.
Remember that
Because
time they got drunk and made an anime out of it?
it was like one of the worst anime ever made, though.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know why they decided to make an anime out of it.
This sounds like a drunk idea.
Yeah, a drunk idea with like an undead incest plot.
Well, he did write the near side of the roots for Type Moon.
Yeah, but they weren't related.
Oh my goodness. All right, some of these plants come back to life.
Oh, what?
After you kill them,
Why are they allowed to do that?
you got to kill them twice.
Oh my goodness me, I'm gonna die.
I tried to squish
No,
it.
my potion button doesn't work. I just died of poison and bleed.
Oh, there's something bombarding us with oh, the plant's still alive. Yeah, welcome to the Udenbog.
This sucks.
I actually like this place. Oh, and there's a wappy plant there.
I noticed. It wept me.
I actually like the Udenbog. I don't mind this place. I'll just hop over the wall.
All this fire and I can't set anything on fire.
Yeah,
Oh my goodness, I'm poisoned again, I'm poisoned again, I'm poisoned again, I'm poisoned again. Poison in here is serious business.
Yeah. Might need to make some of them anti-venom components and stick them in your gear. We get to the next town, which shouldn't be too far. I don't think.
Where are we actually even trying to go?
We're just
This is like your least methodical lawn mowing I've ever seen you do.
yeah. The you know how it go. I'm very very out of it, so I'm having to recheck and see what's been mowed. Yeah, when I have my brain attached to me, normally I mow the entire map with somebody that's new, so they can be sure to get everything uncovered. But all right, I have auras.
Oh, I also have auras.
I wondered when my damage tanked in the ground. There's a spot down here we haven't mowed. We can go mow that. Oh, not that way.
Yeah. Anyway, new Blue Archive story coming out. Lots of media because of the launch of the Chinese version of the game as well.
Yep. And you got the anime coming up.
Yes, the anime is also coming up, although I'm not really sure what the time scale is.
Was that
I'm just
PVE posted for the anime or for the Chinese version?
No, I think that was just a promo for the Chinese release. I thought it might be the anime at first, but when I translated it, it was not. It's only on the Chinese channel. But yeah, I'm interested to see what they do with the anime.
I am a
There's
little.
a few different ways they could go.
Yeah. There are a lot of fun ways they could go.
I feel like the safest one would just be to do the
Abydos.
Abydos one.
Yeah.
Because that also works as like product promotion, because it just leaves you wanting to know what's going to happen now.
Yeah. Look at all this poison and bleed.
Poison is just the best.
And then most of the plants are going to come back to life.
But why?
Because they were
Ogden
bulbs.
Bloom.
Ugin Bob. Ugin Bob. Bug. Bug. Ugin Bug.
Ugh. Yeah, so not really much play in Blue Archive this week though, because it's just doing a rerun of an old event. I'm in that sort of regretful posture of like, oh man, I missed all of these old previous events that have already had their reruns. But I'm hoping that since they are following pretty religiously in the footsteps of Pinecone, eventually Pinecone made all of the old events just sort of playable, so that you can get all the story.
Yeah.
So hopefully Blue Archive will do the same thing. Then I'll be able to see all the bits that I missed.
Yeah, if they look like this, where they're little bulbs, they're going to die and come back to life. They're going to have the little thing popping out of their head.
Oh my goodness, please save me!
I can't stop them from shooting their poison unless they die.
There was a class that has a remove debuff spell, but I can't remember which one. I know that there was one. I remember seeing it. There's a straight up cleanse spell.
There's a purge on Arcanist, but it doesn't work on friendlies. You got potions for days. You've been saving them.
I do have potions for days. However, there's a cooldown on potions, and the cooldown is longer than most poisons.
Oh, dearie me. So, yeah. I unfortunately just don't have a whole lot. Ooh, another dank cellar.
Yeah, I don't really have much else to do. I did watch whatchamacallit. I watched The Devil is a Part-Timer up to date.
I still haven't finished the current season or whatever the
Well, the
latest
current
season.
season's not finished, so the current season's halfway through.
Yeah, I like Devil as a part timer.
It's a bit empty head, but it's quite easy watching.
I even like the stupid little twee daughter that he adopts. Like it's
Well,
just
I think as a plot device, she is useful for forcing uncomfortable situations on the hero.
yeah, it's just it's a great little fun show. It's not like gonna make you stop and think profound thoughts about the universe or anything, but it's just gonna be a good time.
I think if it did, you would be having highly questionable. Would have a highly questionable attitude to the world. If you if that was what it was, that was what was necessary. Can you stop that?
Oh, sniffling.
No, jumping over walls that I can't jump over, so I can't figure out where the hell I'm supposed to go.
Oh, okay. I'll go back to just the normal dashing. They all dead. Do we win? Okay.
I got the epic gun that you gave me again, except at a penalty of 744 DPS somehow. There's a lot of difference.
I don't know. Maybe that gun just really wants to find its way to you.
Well, considering this is the third copy, I also got another epic, which I can't use because it's literally a shield, but it is a shield called Meat Shield.
I think I've entered that on my
It
main
has a
account.
skill called Meat Wall, which I presume creates a wall of meat.
Probably. I think I've entered that on my Arcanist.
Meat, eh?
Pure meat. Hey, yeah, I like Devil's a part timer. I don't have anything profound to say about it or some deep discussion to go
Well,
into
nor
about it.
do
Really,
I,
it's
but
just I just enjoy the
I
show.
did watch like 4 seasons of it, so I must have been enjoying myself.
Yeah, it's just good anime, and it just you can just keep watching. Have have a
Yeah,
grand
that's
old
why I said
time.
it was easy watching. Like I did not feel burdened by it in any way. It did not induce any kind of existential angst.
Yeah, there was nothing
Oh, not
bad.
more than normal anyway.
Yeah, and it even though it's a big silly Devil Works at McDonald's story, I do think they do the big epic moments where Mal gets his powers.
McDonald's to you.
Yeah, I do think they do the big epic moments where Mal gets his powers back pretty well. They managed to sell it because of how infrequently they use it.
Yeah, I think like there are times where
I
I've
need to go
like
back and
sort of
sell crap.
caught myself thinking something along the lines of, "Oh, I wish that he had the power to just slap that guy." But then the whole reason the story works is because he doesn't. Like, there is almost no situations in the story relative to the runtime where he actually uses brute force to solve problems.
Yeah, and
It basically doesn't happen.
usually when he does get his juice back, he's using it to delay a problem that's coming to squish him.
Well, because he knows that he simply can't fire on all cylinders for more than a few seconds.
Yeah,
So there would be no point in him posturing like he could actually fight.
and it works, and it makes those moments where he does start burning the juice really kind of hit a bit harder and feel like, yeah, go get him, Devil Man.
Well, because there's a cost associated with it.
Yeah,
In that, if he decides to take the aggressive option, he is pretty much closing off his options everywhere else in order to make that choice. Because there's just not going to be a plan B.
yeah. I like Amelia and her character arc through the whole thing, and going and still trying so hard to be the tsundere. I really hate you heroine.
I think it's not just. I don't think it's like, oh well, she's just being a shallow tsundere. I think that she actually does think that way. I think she's being quite sincere because she's got a lot of hang-ups. I mean,
Yeah,
that's why she sort of, falls apart when she finds out that her entire quest was futile and that she's been chasing after the wrong goal all along.
yeah.
Like that is what causes her to sort of like become seriously unmanned. Like nothing else really matters all that much to her. Like she's caught between a sense of sort of like complacency and duty most of the time, but when the sort of the big changes happen to her sort of understanding of her place in the world, then it's the lack of a goal which causes her problems at that point. It's not something as simple as, oh well, she's being tsundere. She is unable to admit to herself something. No, because the problem is that she can admit to herself what she thinks of her current circumstances. The problem is that she's not sure how she's supposed, whether it's okay for her to think that way or not. It's
Yeah.
whether she's allowed to be content with her place in the world, or whether she's got a duty to be a cantankerous hero who's constantly being pugnacious towards her erstwhile enemy.
And then you got everything about oh, what's his name? Having a brain fart. The Demon Lord's best bud, or
Ashia.
yeah,
I can't
Ashia.
remember what his actual I can't remember what his actual name is.
Yeah, the team mom. Like everything about his character is great. Every time he's on screen is genuinely funny.
Yeah, he's something else. He's special.
And then you got Lucy discovering Amazon. There's a whole bunch of lawn mowing we got to do back here.
Yeah, I find most of the characters to be very entertaining. It's sort of, it's like I said, it's easy watching. It's nothing is particularly angst filled. There, like even when a character is doing the angsty thing, it still comes out okay.
Yeah, and it's just a lot of the problems they have, even though they're set with that supernatural bend to them. There's if you've ever had to scrape for cash, you understand a lot of the problems they're going through.
Well, this time they're going, the current plot line for the current season is going a bit more fantasy story like.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's they're dipping into some of their sort of their background story well, which is something that they have extensively hinted about the details of, but never really come out and explained what is going on. Which, I mean, that's the normal way you would approach it. But there's still some material to mine for depth there. Unfortunately, it's got the vibe of a story which I feel like it's quite likely not to have a terribly satisfying ending when all said and done.
yeah.
Like I'm not really sure how you actually end this, because if you having a decisive ending that changes circumstances, I don't think would be satisfying, since the whole point of the story is the everyday life of this group of misfits. And if you were to end that paradigm, then that would be a sad way to end it. But on the other hand, if you end it with and then the story continues, well, then you don't really get an ending at all, and it's disappointing in a different way. So yeah, I'm not really sure.
He
Not really
becomes
sure exactly how you work with that.
he's going to get promoted from manager to owner of the local McDonald's franchise, and him and Amelia are going to come together to be the most successful McDonald's employees out there possible,
That's also very silly.
and also very likely IMO.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what sort of overlap there is between a call center worker and a McDonald's manager.
Hey, somebody's got to run the customer support.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's probably not worth thinking too deeply about.
I mean, it's just a fun show. I've always been a proponent of Devils Apart, kind of in the same way I liked My Bride is a Mermaid. I get a very similar kind of fun feeling watching that.
I think My Bride as a Mermaid is a significantly more absurdist powered series.
Oh,
Like
it's more
the ridiculousness of the premise is what motivates that whole story.
it's more absurd, but it gives the same kind of warm fuzzies in like just the fun have fun watch anime. Not because of any emotions in particular it evokes or whatever. It feels like it's fun anime to watch. Yeah. So I need to get caught up on the current season and or whatever the latest season is. I'm not even sure if it's airing currently or not. If it's airing currently, then I'm a season and a half behind.
Yes, there is one currently airing. Like I
Yeah.
just watched the latest episode of it.
Okay, so I'm a season and a half behind, but yeah, I like watching Devil's a Part Timer. It was one of those shows I would go back to if I wanted to just watch some easy anime. Where was I going in my devotion tree again?
Home.
Right, I was finishing the ghoul.
Yeah, I kind of want Ghoul as well. It's like I'm losing so much more health than I'm able to maintain. Like, you know what? Some lifesteal would probably fix that. From what I can tell, I did a little bit of looking around, and from what I can tell, basically every build takes a Ghoul.
Yeah,
Like
he's
it's basically mandatory once you get to a certain level of content.
yeah
You won't live without it.
any class that has weapon damage anywhere, either on the skills it uses or with its basic attacks or attack replacers, is going to take ghoul.
Yeah, unless you are making like a pure caster, you pretty much have to take Ghoul sooner
And
or later.
even then, you probably are going to wind up taking ghoul because he's a good source of red.
The only exception I can think of is if you say made a necromancer that was just using the drain essence spell as the primary damage filler,
Yeah,
because it would be totally redundant, because it's not a weapon attack. It takes all of your time since it is a continuously channeled ability, and it heals you. So other than that, like it seems like it's pretty much a shoo-in. Though I don't know. Actually, doing your devotion tree is really kind of messy because it's always like, oh, slot points in here and then unslot the point there and then slot point in here and then unslot here and
yeah.
I'm going to end up spending a lot of iron adjusting it
We
to
should
try
get
and recalibrate my build.
we should get some potions fairly shortly here that'll let us just reset the whole damn thing. Mm-hmm. Mow it in circles. I've not been methodical in my mowing, so you'll have
I
to
can see that.
you'll have to go back and fill in little holes I've left. That guy was not fire or lightning. He must have been Aether or something because he just fell over.
I thought you crit him or something
No,
because it seemed like his health bar just disappeared.
he wasn't resistant to anything. But yeah, so yeah, I don't have a week really to talk about. I played a little bit of Grim Dawn, and we've been talking about that throughout the show. So that's it. Nothing special. Just continuing my Arcanist playthrough. I'm on Ultimate now, so we can just keep going on with stuff you got, or we can jump into the topics.
I don't think I've really got much else to talk about. It's been a bit of a stretch as it was. As I had sort of a low key week generally. Um, I'll probably start doing a bit more, playing a bit more outside the norm once I've got a bit more time on my hands to do it. But that's not really at my discretion just yet. Though I feel like I'm getting nearer to it. I've got some projects at work that need to be done before I can really free myself up. But Yeah, progress is being made on that. I suppose the thing is also that I need to readjust my thinking, um, because I waste a lot of free time in the evening doing sort of essentially nothing, because I got used to the fact that, well, there was no free time, so it was like, oh well, I'll doom scroll Twitter for 10 minutes, then I'll go to bed. And when that 10 minutes becomes 15 or 20, maybe you could do something else, but you're still in the mode of, oh well, there's no free time, so I'll just doom scroll Twitter for 20 minutes and then go to bed.
Yeah, just put the Twitter away. Seems to be a good answer to a lot of them questions.
Well, I
But
suppose you're not supposed to call it Twitter anymore, are you?
no, but that does make a good segue into a news topic. Well, not a news topic, but just a news lit that I saw with
Even newsletters is ennobling it a little bit.
but apparently good old Elon's gonna remove the block feature.
Which is funny. It will probably break the service for a lot of people, because curating curating people from e-stalking you and, you know, setting up your feed is sort of an important key ability for the service in order to be at all useful to a lot of people. Um,
Yeah,
because being able to hide your actions from people is quite important for a lot of people, especially. um I've seen it as a lot of people on our side of the political aisle are very, very unhappy, because what this basically means is that the left-wing botnet will be able to pounce on them every time they say or do anything,
yeah,
because they won't be able to hide it all. They won't be able to have actual conversations because they'll just get pooped on by bots. Um, Ultimately, though, the reason that he's doing this is most likely people like me who just ban every single account that sends them an advert. Like, I just block. I see advert, block, 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 block. I don't block content. I don't block because I see an opinion that I disapprove of or something. No, I block advertisements, and that's not good for the bottom line. So, yeah, I think that that's probably part of why it's happening.
I'll tell you what makes me excited about it though. Um, there are people, notably like my sister, that have Twitter accounts that auto block certain people. I
Oh
want
right, you'll be able to e-stalk your sister again, won't you?
I'll be able to see what the heck she's saying again about me behind my back.
I'm sure she'll be thrilled.
Oh, just I
Your
won't.
sister seems like the sort of person to get a bit hysterical about it as well.
Oh, just wait. I'm gonna make some printouts and I'm gonna bring them to my parents and be like, "So your daughter."
You're just going to tattle. You're just going to
I
stir the curry.
I am so done with that nonsense from her. Oh, we need to go
Oh
back to
dear.
Devil's Crossing and turn in the quest.
Your sister also doesn't seem like the sort of person who could ever be upset enough at your parents to actually move out, because that would be too much effort.
Yeah, well, her she has a legitimate reason right now, but it would not. How do I describe this? Right now, her shtick is it costs too much, and that is true. That is a true statement. However, it would not matter if it cost her pennies to move out. I sincerely doubt she would move out then, because that would be too much work. So watching my dad jump her butt because she lied to him about why she can't get up for church in time was hilarious. Good
Well, I mean,
gravy.
those those uh those horror games girls like aren't going to play themselves.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to do it.
What is with girls and horror games like that? They seem to be a recent phenomenon.
I don't know. I daren't speculate. Tonic of reshaping.
That's one of the respec potions. That one resets your attributes.
Maybe I should do that. Because currently I've got 23 in physic, 18 in cunning, and 18 in spirit. But I probably don't need any in spirit, to be totally honest. Because it just doesn't benefit me that much, most of the stats. Because I don't use enough energy to worry about energy. So I don't cast very often.
Yeah, it's only the only thing you'll give up is the fire damage.
Well, the thing is that it's probably the raw stat itself doesn't contribute that much. That's sort of hard to say, and especially considering I keep getting killed by things and I can't equip stuff because my physique is too low. I'll have to have a look online and see what sort of stat allocations are commonly used for.
It seems to be physique is the god tier stat, and you dump as much as you can into that, no matter what you play.
I see. Well, I'll do that. I'll deal with that later. Oh my goodness, swapping that dropped my physique again. I'm never going to be able to equip anything. Very frustrating.
One moment. I'll entertain that for just a second.
How am I supposed to do that? Sing a little song? I'm afraid I can't sing. My throat is too raw. And even if it wasn't, I still can't sing. So that's still fine. Yeah. So, Elon. I kind of want Elon's tactics to be successful, not really because I think that he's providing a valuable service or because I'm a huge fan of his, but mostly because I've heard so many people saying, oh, Twitter is dead, that I kind of want it not to be dead just to wind up the people who think that it is. That's pretty much the only motivation I've got. Because, I mean, it's just been an endless procession of people hysterically saying, oh, Twitter's doomed this time for reals. And I'm just a bit tired of hearing it because well, honestly, I'm tired of the sort of vanity and self-obsession that seems to be inherent in all of these people making continuous grand proclamations about the way the future is going to be type of thing.
Yeah, the doomsayers that will cry doom until it finally happens.
Not even doomsayers. Like even saying, "Oh, doomsayers," that's not quite what I mean. It's something more simple than that, and it's just the arrogance of this massive number of people who seem to think that they just know how the future is going to be, and most of them who have come to this conclusion didn't even come up with the idea themselves. They've just read somewhere an opinion which agreed with their sentiments and have decided that this is the way of the future. Like it's all a very shallow exercise in making a sort of an empty grand proclamation about the future and doing so in order to join the club of other people who think the same thing.
Yeah.
It probably shouldn't annoy me as much as it does, but it's like, it's just a sort of an overall culture of a comedic level of arrogance at, oh well, I just know, I know the way things are, I know the future, I'm so perceptive, so such a grand intellect.
You know D-Way.
Yeah, they believe that they know the way. Ooh, I think I got a good relic recipe here.
You know D-Way.
Dewey.
This is how far gone I am. When as soon as you said that, you gained Knuckles. Just is the first thing that pops in my head.
Right, hold on. How does this work? So it's empowered, transcendent, and mythical. Is there something above mythical, or is that the top?
Let me come back to Devil's Crossing and I can tell you.
I mean, this requires items to craft that I never even seen before.
So, empowered are let's see here. They're your basic relics. Transcendent are your next tier up. And mythical is the highest tier, but within mythical are ones that require other mythical relics to craft.
I see. Okay, because I got Ulzuin's Pyroclasm, which seems to have a lot of fire on it.
Yeah, that's a pretty top tier one. Let's see. Slaughter and Desolation. Those are both transcendent tier, I think. Slaughter is, and Desolation is. So yeah, you need 2 transcendent relics.
I don't have either of those recipes. And I've never even seen a focusing prism before.
That's a component that a rare component you eventually get the ability to craft. I think maybe it's not a rare one. Maybe it's just a really expensive base one. Okay, it's just a really expensive base one. You just craft it. Takes the materials are really cheap. That's not that hard. Um, and flint core bolts are easy. Inferno's easy. That's a baby tier relic. The problem is you need to craft Desolation and Slaughter, which oh yeah, Slaughter takes 3 basic runes, Manticore Eyes, and a Blessed Whetstone, which is 12 seals of Chthonic Seals of Binding.
That's a lot of stuff.
That's just one of them. Yeah, it took me forever to craft the equivalent one for my Arcanist. Like all the way through Elite playthrough. Long to craft it.
Definitely gonna want to hold on to that one for a while. Oh, am I carrying more junk? Good grief! What is this thing? Heart of Caraxes.
Oh, it's a quest item we gotta take to the next camp.
Why
Along
is
with,
this heart so big?
I don't know, we're taking up there with the frying pan.
We gonna cook it?
Oh, it would makes Wendigos are a thing in this expansion. Maybe we cook it. Maybe we can ally with the Wendigos and see what happens.
Wait, is that a thing
Yeah, they're a faction.
that you could ally with?
Yeah,
But they're Wendigos. They eat people.
yeah. But they only eat the occasional person.
But I'm an occasional person.
I'm sure they'll be fine. We'll become best buds with them. It'll be okay.
They wear skin. They're not even their own.
Yeah, the fact that Wendigos existed as enemy type in this game was like, there's no way these guys are not from North America. Guys that make this game.
There are Wendigos in Final Fantasy.
Yeah, but it's like the Wendigo is such a American monster. I think they have them in South America too.
Remember that obnoxious quest where you have to chase the Wendigo halfway across the zone in the first area of Secret World?
Oh,
You just gotta,
this rings a bell.
you have to follow it while it runs away from you because you're tracking it and it leaves a trail of blood.
Yeah, that rings a bell.
Man, I missed that game. I wish they hadn't ruined it.
I wish they hadn't ruined a whole lot of games
Why do people get ruined in games, mate?
because the bean counters get in charge and they say, "Hey, look, we can make more money if we appeal to this audience and try to cast a wide net instead of being beloved by
But
a
do
smaller
they
audience."
though? Do they actually make more money?
I
Like how? I'm not sure that that's necessarily true. Like depending on the time scale you look at.
it's the bean counters don't care about anything in the long term and retaining core dedicated players. They see the big bucks they can make in the short term, and then they can shutter the game and be like, "Well, we made all this money in this short amount of time in this game," and go to their bosses and tell them that. All right,
Wait, where is the right way?
I've just been going through and making sure we mowed. The right way is down and to the right.
Well, that house is up there is still black for me, so I'm going to go and poke at it.
All right, this house.
Ah, it's full of Wendigos. Or something.
Cannibals, Wendigos.
A Wendigo is essentially the same thing as the urban skinwalker legend.
Might be close. They're the
There was
Wendigo.
because people always tell skinwalker stories, like it's sort of like a 4chan creepypasta thing for the most part, but it's always like there's a creature that's out in the woods. When you're out in the woods, you'll hear it, and it's trying to imitate a human, but it's not actually human.
Yeah, the general Wendigo story I hear from the Native Americans around here is you got somebody got hungry, really hungry, and resorted to cannibalism, and he couldn't stop himself and ate more and more human flesh, and eventually this turned him into an evil monster because he became possessed by an evil spirit. So the Skinwalker's a little bit different from that, but in some Native American traditions, they treat him as the same type of evil spirit. I'm not exactly a
Cryptid specialist.
yeah. I'm not nor am I big on Native American lore. So I know more than probably your average Joe, but not as much as your Injun Joes. But yeah. So yeah, Elon and Twitter. Uh, we'll see what this does. I don't have a whole lot of good hopes for this change, but I do think it will lead to some funny moments. Just a whole bunch of lawn back here.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the overall vector is for Twitter. Like, I don't know where exactly what exactly the destination looks like that Elon is trying to head towards. But I mean, Twitter as it was before him was essentially useless, and the way it currently is, we get a lot of lousy community notes moments. So I'm willing to call those things are fast. I'm willing to call it a win provisionally.
Yeah, I'll take anything over old Twitter. Old Twitter was just a hub for the enemy to gloat in our face, for lack of better terminology.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it is about the Twitter that makes it such an effective communication engine when everything about it suggests that it should be an utterly ineffective engine. But despite the fact that its user base is not enormous compared to what it like Facebook has, it's somehow like more pivotal than Facebook in
Yeah,
the way like the world goes. Like somebody at some point decided that every government in the world needs to have a Twitter.
yeah. Right. I think we mowed most of that. The next quest hub.
Will we be out of the Ogdenbogna?
No, there's more Ugdunbog.
Why is there so much Ogdenbog?
This is a big bog. These are the witches. They don't like the cannibals. I think their hub area has everything except a blacksmith.
Invisible Helm potion.
Oh, you can permanently unlock hide helm and stuff.
Invisible medal. I would like to get rid of that incredibly garish star I have on my chest.
I think we got to get some rep up with the witches first.
It's true.
Oh, we got a tonic of
clarity.
I think that one's reset devotion points.
Where did it go? I don't see. Ah, there we go. Yeah, I used to reset your devotion points. Maybe not yet. I will Probably have to play around with one of those planner tools to work out what I actually want to do with my devotion points to get them to where I want them to be.
I have 7 reset your devotion points and 4 reset your attribute.
Alright, stash guy. I need to dump yet another Ugden plume.
You'll be getting a
What
lot
can
of
you even
those.
what can you even craft with Ugden bloom?
A lot of crap. It's just a crafting material, same as any other one. Not as useful as like bloods or hearts and stuff, but
Yeah, well, the more you get of something, the more useless it seems to be.
I'll tell you, yeah, you'll be getting a lot of Ugden Bloom.
Wait, they've got a skill person.
Yeah, the one in Devil's Crossing migrated.
I see.
She was apparently originally from here or something.
Kind of. No, I won't respec just yet. I'll wait until I've got a better picture of what I want to do.
I don't know how much Grim Dawn I'm gonna cram in this weekend with how I'm already pushing it with to do the show.
Oh, did I drop an item that gave me skill bonuses? I must have done so.
Oh
Don't know
no.
which one it was though.
Oh well.
Oh well. I'm still using my level 24 shoulders and my level 18 hat.
I'm still
Nothing
using
better has dropped.
my level 20 hat. I have an empowered one version that's like level 70 something that I got of the exact same hat.
Wait, so do we, in order to move up to the next difficulty, do we have to clear all the expansions as well?
No. We could move up right now if we wanted.
Okay.
But yeah, well,
Can we advance them in parallel?
so
Like normal expansion and whatever the next skill level up is, regular
yeah,
regular campaign?
we could do so.
It's just that
it's a
I
fine
kind of
it's a fine balancing act because we don't want to get 10 levels above anything in either. Otherwise, we won't get crafting materials and stuff like that to drop.
right. So you don't want to get too far ahead,
Yeah.
but you don't want to get too far ahead in either of them, right? Like, so what's the level bracket for starting the
So
next difficulty level?
so if I pull up the map, turn on level brackets
I didn't even know you could turn on level brackets.
in the website map, not the in-game map.
Oh, okay.
So the level brackets for the start of elite difficulty go up. It starts the game at level 6 up to level 65. For the very first area, 66,
So do you
68.
mean 65 is where you want to be at the start, or if you're level 66, then you're going to start by not getting anything?
You want to be sure you're not 75. Otherwise, you
Right.
won't get any drops. And it looks like the base game on elite difficulty caps out at level 76, so level 86. But you get EXP way slower. Oh wait, no, that's the Blood Grove. Hang on. It caps out at 78. So you don't want to be level 88. And the expansion areas are, go to Barrow Home. So on normal, this goes from 38 to 65. So this will stop at 65 as well. And once we get to Barrow Home, that'll stop at 66. And then the next area goes up to level 70, 72, then 75, and 75 is where it ends. And for the next expansion, it goes up to level 75. And it finishes at roll in the map. I am scrolling map. Finishes at 75. So the next expansion just scales with your level completely. You can go do the last expansion whenever until level 75. Right. So yeah, we could at any time around level 65, we can start hopping between the two.
Right.
We can start hopping between elite difficulty and continuing these X packs. But yeah, I ran into that problem where I overleveled part of elite difficulty and couldn't collect seals of the little seals, the what they call it, chthonic seals of binding,
Right.
because they have a bracket they drop in near the end of the base X pack or the base game. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
wondering about that because I'm still sort of like stuck in this situation where I'm like, how am I supposed to get Cronley rep?
Ultimate scales up to max level no matter what. So
Right.
once we clear the base game on elite, we can go beat up Cronley. Gonna beat up the train dummies.
I guess.
All right. Make sure I got all the quests, and then we continue our adventures into Udenbog. We put the dude back together for the rovers, right? At his
I
shrine.
don't know what you're talking about.
The dude at the shrine that we had to go find his soul and his body and inside the rifts and put him back together.
I don't remember that.
I think
Doesn't mean we didn't do it, but I don't remember it at
okay.
all.
Okay, I think we did that. There'll be another quest to go do another Skelly Key dungeon that we can accept and put on the back burner. Because that Skelly Key dungeon kicked my butt up and down. And attempting it so many times is what got me overleveled. Okay, I think we got all the quests, so we can play in the Udenbog. Yeah.
Not exactly a privilege.
Next up, since we're talking about good old Grim Dawn and ARPGs, Diablo 4 has not been having a good time.
Well, it kind of serves them right.
Yeah, so they had their first major trading exploit of an ARPG. As you know, this seems to happen with every ARPG. There'll be a duplication exploit that just gets out of hand at some point in its life cycle. But it it feels extra. What's a good word for it? It makes me feel good to see it happen to Diablo 4 because they're always online bullshit.
Why do they seem to think that that's a good idea? They keep getting burned by it again and again and again, but again and again and again, they keep doing it.
Like we set up this always online thing for customer service and whatever corporate lies they want to feed to you down your throat. And one of them is always, to stop this kind of thing from happening. And when it happens, it's just the funniest thing in the world to me.
Blizzard make mistakes that they've made before with such disturbing frequency that I half expected them to just do real money trading auction house again.
Yeah.
Like it would not have surprised me at all. It'd be, oh, well, that's on brand for Blizzard to just duplicate a terrible mistake that they made in the past.
I'm not up on my cryptid lore. I'm not sure what a leaf mane is.
It's a creature with a leaf mane, I guess.
I mean, I assume, but yeah. Until we get the quest to turn in these stupid horns, we're gonna be picking them up and hauling one of them around. So they drop all the time. But yeah, it just it felt good to see that happen to Blizzard because they always tout it like, oh, this always online service and it's the security it provides will help us prevent this kind of thing. And sure enough, it happens anyway. Like we all knew it would. Pickle.
Bagel. Yeah, it's not that what I'm what I boggle at is not that Blizzard makes mistakes that are obvious mistakes, but that they make mistakes that are obvious mistakes. They get horribly burned by them. They say they'll never do it again, and then they immediately do it again with exactly the same result. So why? Why are you this bad at your job?
Yeah. Oh yeah, we get a ton of homestead reputation.
And apparently Ugdenbog reputation.
Oven of the Ugdenbog.
Is Homestead just Aminals?
Yep, it's just minerals. So we're not gonna do the Skelly Key dungeon for this guy, but we can accept his request. I'll just go ahead and untrack that quest. But we're not gonna clear the Skelly Key dungeon. Complete his quest, I think. When I'm uh, currently like this. Although the vendor in there does sell some really good recipes. Yeah, the Undenbog Skelly Key dungeon is really good for getting crafting recipes of epic items. Because it'll pull just random epic items from the epic item recipe table and have like 3 or 4 of them available to purchase for a really high price.
I see.
So they're fairly expensive, but they good way to pad yourself out on some good craftables you can work your way toward. Or Wendigos. Well, I'm not sure I should be feeling sorry for the cannibal spirits, but they just kind of get liquefied. I can go talk to them. Talk to the crazy ghost lady. Oh yeah, there's poison monsters in the swamp that we can't target or do anything about. They just kind of come up underneath you and start chewing on you. Oh, okay, we can keep got this. Ah, crabs.
You have crabs?
There are crabs. But yeah, it's just everything I've heard about Diablo 4 makes me so glad that I decided to play Grim Dawn instead. Like anytime somebody's
Yeah.
talking to me about Diablo 4, it's always, oh, the stash has got problems. Oh, the always online is having trouble. Oh, there's an item duplication glitch that's gotten out of hand, even though it's supposed to be always online to prevent this kind of stuff. Like, oh, the story's terrible. Like, I don't know how good the story is in Grim Dawn, but it can't be worse than what I saw for Diablo 4.
Well, I mean, you got to think about it though. Like, if they had just pulled the resources that they dumped into doing all the stupid crap that they did, and put those on hiring a decent writing team instead, maybe we wouldn't have this problem. Like, there's most of the problems that they've got are things that didn't need to actually be problems.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't need to do Oars Online. You chose that path. You didn't need to have all of these issues with the stash. You chose that path to have problems. You didn't need to have the dark pattern issue with people who keep accidentally buying, keep accidentally redeeming their whatchamacallit, their battle pass. But you chose that path. You didn't need a battle pass at all, much less one that doesn't give you enough currency to purchase anything. But you chose that. All of these are decisions they chose to make that don't have anything to do with the core game, or its mechanics, its playability, how much fun it is. Like, even a terrible story, you can fix that in post. You can simply do an expansion that has an awesome story. People will play it for the gameplay in the meantime if the gameplay is solid.
Like, you didn't
Uh,
have
th-
to.
It's just that they've chosen the path with the most problem, and they are duly encountering all of those problems. There's no mystery associated with what's going on here.
And it's like, they say the limit on skills for Diablo 4 and why they're so limited is to accommodate controller players, but I'm playing Grim Dawn just fine with a controller, and I'm allowed to have however many skills I want. I have 2 full action bars I can fill up.
Yeah, I mean, well, the reality is that people aren't going to use enough skills for it to be a problem anyway in typical play.
Yeah, but it's just the excuse they gave for not allowing the people that want to do that. Whoops. I I you dropped a portal.
Low. Well, well, well.
Isn't the consequences of my own hopping. Yeah, that happens sometimes if you just angle it just right. You just got to portal back to town. Oh yeah. Indigos.
Everything
Indigos.
can't be a Wendigo.
These are Wendigo spirits. This is the Undenbog. Everything can, in fact, be a Wendigo.
Is that just how the Ugdenbog do?
Wendigo!
Oh my goodness, they can kill me in 3 hits.
Wendigo! Okay, we go help the Wendigo. Oh no, this is the boss. We got face Genaxis. Wendigo, Lord of the Burning Legion. Well, I gotta run. Okay, we were distracted by the Wendigo, Lord of the Burning Legion. But yeah, I just see all these excuses they give, and I'm just like, y'all just lying. Y'all
But
just bad at your job. You just wanted more money.
well, I think that the biggest mistake that they've really made was none of those things. The biggest mistake they've made is becoming such a lolcow on so many fronts at once with the Overwatch 2 shenanigans and the World of Warcraft bullcrap that they've pulled recently. And though you probably haven't noticed about that since you're completely under a media blackout for World of Warcraft,
Yeah,
but
I've been keeping my eyes off that crap.
you basically they introduced a new currency to World of Warcraft, which initially was earned by playing, and they would have like a shop where you could spend that currency, um, which would refresh every month, and every month you would get like 500 of this currency, and 500 would be available to be earned, and the shop. And I don't know the other ways that you obtained them in game or whatever, but the shop would have various premium things in it, and you could like when I say premium, I don't mean that they were on the purchasable store. I just mean that like that's sort of high ticket items
Yeah, like hold
that you
mounts
could
and
get for
stuff.
them.
I think I vaguely remember this.
The thing is that they have gradually increased the total price of those items and started gradually introducing the currency as a bonus for bundles of stuff that people don't want on the store.
Yeah, sounds like Blizzard.
Why would you do that? So much can go wrong if you don't clear the area first.
That's fine. It's the Undenbog. What's gonna eat us? More Wendigos?
Yes, Wendigos. Uh,
But yeah,
Yeah, so they've basically, and then on top of the Overwatch 2 bullcrap that anybody who has access to Steam can see how people are thinking about that one, and then on top of all the problems with Diablo 4, which came out on the back of essentially Diablo Immortal, as far as that franchise is concerned, which had its own set of issues, if you want to call it that. Like the big mistake that they made was not any of those individual things. It was that they made such a concentrated soup of those problems that they have become the lolcow content farm for every 2-bit content creator out there. Like everybody is doing coverage of what a bunch of clowns Blizzard are.
That was the last of my dynamite. I'm gonna go get more dynamite.
Dynamite.
All right, you like space vaginas?
No.
Mysteries, the Udenbog. So portal down right here.
Treacherous domain. Minus 6% elemental resistance. Why am I getting slapped?
This space vagina slaps.
How am I supposed to stay healthy in here? I don't know where I'm supposed to stand.
I just kind of run around in circles.
That didn't work for me.
I got a portal right outside so we can zerg it. Yeah, I haven't figured out how this thing's attack pattern works yet either.
I'm gonna die again. I don't even know why. What is going on here? This is like a more nonsense version of that Final Fantasy boss.
Okay, we got him. Okay, space vagina dead.
It's not really space.
Bog vagina dead. All those legs would be really good if I had a laser wizard that was at this level. Or maybe you'll have a laser wizard one day.
Maybe I'll make a laser wizard.
This one is not leaking.
It still has teeth.
Yeah, it's still not good for you. Might get demonetized for that. Is showing an uncensored ARPG boss a demonetizable offense?
What isn't? But yeah, it's Blizzard is a mess. I don't see how they can pull out of this tailspin, to be honest. Like they would need to like go silent for 5 years and rethink their place in the world or something.
But we all know they can't do that.
No, they can't do that.
Follow you.
I don't know what the most efficient lawn mowing strategy is here.
Oh yeah, sometimes when the plants come back, they come back as heroes.
Why would you do this to me?
You get killed by the poison.
Yes. I don't even know why I've got a potion button. I hammer it over and over again. It never goes off.
Just ask it harder.
Oh man, where did I come back?
I threw
I
my
went in the wrong rift.
come through my portal. It's on top of your corpse. Okay, back to my win. Let's see. I guess it's not all Wendigos. We have ghost crabs. Is that a comment? Is that a commentary when they're right next to the space vagina?
I mean, maybe. Is it a bannable commentary? What am I
Probably.
dying of?
One of them things had bad fire.
But all fire is good.
So yeah, it's I'll enjoy making fun of Blizzard. I just really like seeing Diablo do bad, especially because I've attached to an ARPG that isn't Diablo.
I think that's not really a good reason to want it to do bad. I think it deserves to do bad because it's a bad product.
Oh,
That's the,
I got murdered.
that's what's ultimately at play here.
Like,
Oh man, I wondered why I couldn't move, but it was because a whole bunch of things were spawning out of the ground around me and I couldn't see them.
zzz. You know, golems usually imply something had to make them. What made the Ungenbog golems?
The swamp vagina.
You know, I've heard of swamp ass, but I'm going to stop that before it gets worse. Anyway, has this all been sufficiently mowed? I think we mowed. So yeah, I mean, yeah, maybe I could be a bit more thoughtful in my reasons for wanting to see Blizzard burn, but at this point, I just want to see Blizzard burn because they're Blizzard.
Well, it's sort of, in some sense, it feels like it's making a mockery of all of the good work that they did before.
Yeah,
When they continue to trade on that goodwill that they built up in association with the Blizzard name, when the Blizzard name has been progressively dragged through nastier and nastier mud as time has gone on.
Indigos.
How are these Wendigos so fast?
Wendigos. But yeah. Let's see. What else do we have in here? Oh, speaking of Blizzard and Diablo 2. Oh, I'm gonna die.
Why?
The poison water was decided to come bubble underneath me. But so speaking of Overwatch 2, a certain other game came out on Steam as a free game and had almost 3 times the players as Overwatch 2. And that was good old Hollow Cure is finally on Steam.
Well, I mean, they didn't manage to offend their entire fan base before moving to Steam, so.
Yeah, just the first thing I did when Hollow Cure came out, before I even had the game downloaded, and had it actually managed to auto find my old save file without me having to do anything. I was kind of impressed. But
I haven't tried it yet, so.
before I did anything with the game, I went and looked up what the player count was and what that was compared to some other choice games, and the one that stood out was Overwatch 2. Like Hollow Cure just was blowing it out of the water. But yeah, And I was actually impressed. The product managed to find my old save file somehow. I must have saved it in its default location, and yeah, just carried over all my stuff.
Well, nobody wants to do the gacha over. The gacha was not friendly to me. I had to roll a lot just to get the one that I wanted. I'm not very good at the game, so it takes me a lot of time to earn the coins. But speaking of earning coins, there's fishing now. You know what must be done.
Oh, oh, are you prepared for more Ugenbog?
No, why is there more Ogdenbog?
There's always more Ugenbog.
Why did they decide that what this game really needed was more swamp?
Need more Ugenbog? I mean, sometimes you just need more bug. Maybe
No,
they.
I'm pretty sure you almost never need more bog.
I mean, have you played a Dark Souls game? There's always more swamps. Miyazaki made an entire zone in Elden Ring that is just poison swamp.
He seems to think people just love poison.
Like Miyazaki's, it's a meme because he really does do it. Just dumps poison swamps everywhere.
Like, you know what this would make this better? Is if everybody was poison. That's the ideal circumstance. Everybody being poison. Let's have more of that.
Yeah.
Oh no! There's poop on the ground.
And you know what's even better? In Elden Ring, he decided one form of poison wasn't enough, so he made Scarlet Rot and poison. So you know, maybe they came off of a playthrough of a Miyazaki game and were like, yeah, you know, I see where he's coming from.
More bog. That's what the people want.
Clearly, people love the swamps. The swamp isn't that bad once you've got the whole swamp mode and you're just going from place to place. It's only bad when you're mowing it. But your mortar's still going ham on the plant after it came back to life. So yeah, that's about all I got. It's been a slow week. I wish I had
Well,
more
everybody's
juice.
busy drowning themselves in Baldur's Gate lately, so
Yeah, and I
honestly, I haven't really felt like it's it hasn't given me that feeling like when Elden Ring came out. Like I never got much played of Elden Ring because of my computer completely crapping itself just after I got it, and then the hype train dying away, so I didn't have as much motivation as I might have otherwise had. But the I didn't feel from Baldur's Gate the sort of like the urge to be a part of the phenomenon that I did with Elden Ring at all. Uh, as far as I'm concerned, I'm perfectly happy to just wait until modders fix the game.
yeah.
Like apparently there's like 1,000 fixes and tweaks in the first patch, the official patch, which means that there's at least 10,000 that urgently need to be done.
Oh, speaking of games that need to be fixed on launch, Abo got a new PC recently, and his both his CPU and his GPU came with a free copy of Starfield, the new Bethesda game.
Yeah, but why? It doesn't exist yet.
I don't know,
And
but
you're only going to have to buy it 8 more times anyway.
yeah. So I have a day one copy from his extra copy of Starfield that he had just laying around.
It won't work.
Yeah, but I get to
Game
experience the
Bethesda game, it will never work on launch. It's not even theoretically possible. It wouldn't be a Bethesda game if it was.
yeah the early reviewers and the review copies are trying to say it works. I don't believe a word they say. But it'll be interesting to get the day one bug experience, just like I used to when I used to have faith in Bethesda.
You had faith in Bethesda?
Once upon a time, I believe Peter Molyneux.
I guess that's true. You were a child once. You thought as a child did.
Yes, I will go to Coven's Refuge and sell my crap because my bags are burst.
My bags are not bursting, but I guess I'll go back and sell as well.
But yeah, so that'll be something I can talk about on day one. I wasn't planning on playing that game, like ever, but it was like maybe I'll get it when it goes on sale after they've released about 3 more versions. But Abo happened to get a free copy with his GPU and CPU. He's like, I got this one. I'm just not doing anything with. I was like, all right, I guess.
You just want to play it that badly, huh?
Not particularly, but it'll make for some fun stories about me telling you how bad it is.
Well, if you can get it to start, I guess.
Oh, I anticipate the game will at least start, but in true Bethesda fashion, what'll happen is you'll get in there and the quest will start breaking, and I won't be able to progress. I think this is the more likely scenario.
I mean, sounds reasonable. Sounds like Bethesda. Goodness knows that they couldn't just, make a game that's at least serviceable on launch.
No, you can't do that.
It doesn't really seem like there's much of a good reason why not. They just won't. Because it's, there's valuable early adopter money they could be getting.
Not hip with the kids to release completed products, my dude.
Is that how it works, huh?
I assume so. I need to pull some dynamite out of my stash. A shared dynamite stash.
I have a Wendigo eye. Let's sell the Wendigo eye. I do not want to carry a Wendigo eye around with me.
The eye of the Wendigo. It's like the eye of the tiger, but not nearly as motivating.
It just kind of smells and makes you hungry.
And these wishes are looking pretty tasty. Do they cook the Wendigo? Is that cooked Wendigo?
I don't know, it seems like bad duty to eat a Wendigo. I don't know. This is me, maybe.
Maybe it's the only way to set the spirit free. Cleanse it in the fiery inferno of a witch's gullet. So yeah, there just ain't a whole lot else going on. We've been stretching as is, and
Yeah.
I'm out. I'm not gonna remember a thing we talked about. I'm
I
running
mean,
on.
I I certainly I certainly heard some feedback from some people regarding Baldur's Gate, but it was largely not new to me in a sense because it sounded like it was just describing the same scenario that played out in Neverwinter Nights when Neverwinter Nights was new and the was it something I can use? Is it something I can use? No, it's not. Yes, it is. No, it's not. I don't want to use it though. It sounded like the same scenario that played out in Neverwinter Nights, where the game's slavish devotion to properly emulating the tabletop engine became its undoing by means of just being too fussy, really. And so you had phenomena play out, like you would roll a new character, and that character would be a wizard. And a wizard, as we know, has D4 plus Constitution bonus hit points. And so you would roll a wizard with 1 hit point and proceed to die every time you got in combat, and there was nothing you could do about it except just save scum viciously. Eventually, they patched it so you always got maximum roll for your level 1 character's hit points. So you always started with at least 4 hit points, but it was very easy for a goblin to roll high and put you in the grave anyway. So it didn't really help all that much. But the point of a DM is to have somebody who prevents the party from getting TPK'd in a totally unfun manner on day one, because no DM gets to DM a second time if their approach to DMing results in the party getting TPK'd 10 minutes into the first session and then having to go home because the DM doesn't have anything else prepared.
Yeah.
Like that's not how this is supposed to go. But yeah, it seems that a lot of that gamey stuff has been inherited due to the adherence to the system in Baldur's Gate. Like there are going to be a lot of people who say that's not a bad thing, and you know I can almost see the argument for that. But that's going to be cold comfort when you walk into a room and then just get crit out of existence by a bandit because he happened to roll really high. It's like, is that really conducive to the narrative experience of a video game? Not really, especially considering the magnitude of additional roles that get made in a video game compared to the conventional tabletop environment where, you know, if you sit down for a 2 or 3 hour session, you're going to have 4 or 5 combat encounters, maybe. Depends on how combat hungry your DM is, I guess. Maybe there are DMs that just do combat back to back to back to back to back to back until everybody's hands are raw from dice rolling. But you are going to have a few encounters and you're going to roll a bunch of dice. All of those dice still get rolled in a video game that is adhering to the dice-based system, except that in the span of 2 or 3 hours, you're going to be doing like, you know, dozens of combat encounters. All of those rolls are going to be made, meaning that you've got a way higher chance of, a way higher rate of epic fails per session, as it were.
Yeah.
Like you're just going to have a bad time more often, and you're going to have to use the quick load button.
Yeah. People, if you've never DM before, and you go show up at a tabletop session for your first time or whatever, you're going to notice the DM has a big old screen to block his dice rolls from view. That screen is so he can lie in the player's favor. It is not so the DM can cheat and have his monsters kill you. Because sometimes the DM will roll them dice and see what's about to happen and know how that's going to affect the party and the morale of the table and just go, yeah, he missed. Like maybe if you got a bunch of Timmy Power gamers, then the screen is there so the DM can actually hit the players occasionally. But by and large, it's there to protect you, the players.
Well, I don't
Because
think it's really necessary even against power gamers because you can just decide if you're the DM that okay, so I'm just going to double the hit points of everything, and you know, crush them because within the limits of the game, if you're going to be able to one shot the DM's creatures, you're probably also going to be a glass cannon who's banking on it.
yeah, that's oh, poison bad. I walked out of my portal and there was poison ready to go. Undenbog, Undenbog, we are clearing the Undenbog.
That was very heroic.
Yep. So yeah,
But yeah, I've heard mostly online. I've heard, you know, gushing praise about Baldur's Gate, but from people I actually know, it's been a lot more moderate. Like Fern said last week that there's some issues with the quests, just not properly recognizing events that actually took place. And you know, my other friend online has been saying that he's been having a bad time because the game is clearly not a video game. It's a tabletop game that is being played out at video game pace with all the problems that generates and so on. And you know, then there's the other problems that are just caused by, you know, the terrible writing that the Western video games industry tends to engage in. Although I gather that this being a European group, it's a little bit less bad than what you would get out of, say, Seattle or Toronto or California or wherever.
I just roll all those places in as California because they're almost indistinguishable from each other when it comes to the
Toronto
products
is not
they put
even in
out.
the same country.
No, no, all California. Go examine the tree root.
The undergrowth. I
So yeah,
mean, I don't. I think that there's a reasonable chance that I will play Baldur's Gate in future, but I'm just not in a hurry to do so because it probably needs to be fixed first.
yeah. I'll wait a bit. The hype train just ain't there. I know in
The
most
hype train is there, but I feel like I missed it. Like it just went past, and I was not at the platform yet.
yeah. Usually, if a game is anywhere in my wheelhouse, I can get on the hype train for it and be a pretty big conductor amongst my friends group. But I felt no desire to do so for Baldur's Gate.
Yeah, I think that for a lot of people, it's going to like the patient zero will be somebody who's got a lot of nostalgia for the originals, which I really didn't play. So yeah, I mean, if this was like another Neverwinter Nights game, maybe I would be that person because was really into that when it came out. But for Baldur's Gate, I don't really have any emotions associated with it since I didn't really play it. I own it. I don't haven't played it.
Yeah, one of my friends was much more into Baldur's Gate than I was in high school.
I mean, from all accounts, it was a really good ARPG. I don't know how well Exalted Stash here. I don't know if it stands up well over time or not. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Don't really know. But I think that might be necessary as sort of like the inciting party for a given hype train on this one.
Yeah,
Don't really know, but yeah, I mean, I see people hyped for it, and I see people talking about how great it is and how it's got like 1,000 endings or whatever. Um, yeah, okay. Is it good though? Does it work? Does it offend you by doing things that make you curse and swear at it because those are total bullshit? Does it make your character do things that your character wouldn't do because it decides it needs to tell its own story when you least expect it? Like, there are lots of crimes that are committed by Western game devs, not because Western game devs are necessarily worse at their craft, as that they tend to be less honest about what they're offering. Like, if you play a JRPG, you know what you're in for, you know? It's definitely going to have certain tropes. Certain things are definitely going to happen. Um, some things will be very silly, but that's because they're always silly in that genre. The Western devs tend to promise you the sun, the moon, and the stars and then fail to deliver on it. Oh my goodness, what did I even die of? Probably poison. Everything in here is poison.
oh yeah, and there's wappy tentacles.
I'm not I'm not kosher with these wappy tentacles. I don't like them.
I moved my
Like, you can
portal.
barely see them. They don't have outlines, so you can't highlight them.
Oh, just because the boss is gone, the wappy tentacles are still present.
Oh, I didn't grab my corpse, so I've got to go back in wappy tentacle land. Oof.
We're almost at the checkpoint, and that'll be a good point to call.
Yeah. So I'm sure that the game will be on discount during a Steam sale or something, and if the story's any good, it's not going to go bad with age. So I'm not in a hurry to play it, really.
Yeah.
I mean, it does have co-op apparently. I don't know how well executed that is, or how meaningful it is, or whether it even works properly. Goodness knows co-op did not work very well in Neverwinter Nights. It did
Yeah.
work, but it could get jank at times. Poo. Why is there so much poo in the way? Yeah, that seems to have stolen a lot of the oxygen from the video games discussion fora at the moment. Most of, like I mentioned before, most of the content creators are aggressively beating up on Blizzard when they aren't singing the praises of Baldur's Gate. I'm sort of interested in seeing, because there's always seems to be this pattern, right, where a new big name game like Baldur's Gate comes out and everybody praises it to the heavens, and then a couple of weeks will pass and then people will start putting up videos that actually criticize it.
Yeah.
And because and it will always come in waves like this because they're all just, following the trend, and somebody will kick off the trend of criticizing the new hotness, and then everybody will jump on that bandwagon. Seems to be the way that it goes.
This is a good stopping point before we go into Wendigo Town and have to decide whether we want to mow through them or ally with them and start their quest chain. Go back to the Coven Refuge and vendor stuff.
But yeah, there always seems to be that second wave of like critique videos that will come out, and I'm sort of interested to see what they'll say after all of the sort of egregious quantity of praise that has been heaped upon them pretty uncritically in a lot of ways. Like, it doesn't seem like they've really. It doesn't seem like anybody's given all that much thought to whether or not they praise it at this stage. I don't know. It may sound shallow of me to say this, and honestly, I don't really care. People's opinion of me isn't going to get any lower than it currently is. But I just find all of the female characters really ugly from all the screenshots I've seen.
I've been there with you on that one since the beginning. That's been probably my biggest criticism of Western video game devs is you women's is ugly.
Yeah, I mean, the response to it is always the same. The response to that criticism is always, oh well, I mean, you've got unrealistic expectations of women. It's like, no, no, no. If I go to the mall, I will see a higher ratio of attractive women to unattractive women than you have in your video game, and I want you to explain why.
Yeah.
Is it that not only are there more attractive women IRL than in your video game, your fantasy video game, which is supposed to be fantasy escapism, wish fulfillment? Not only are there more women who are attractive in real life, but they are more attractive than the characters you are capable of making. Like, what are you trying to do here? What is the objective to making everybody have bad hair and bad skin and a man jaw? Like, why?
Like
Why? What is the reasoning? What is the reasoning? It is not necessarily that. I don't know that when you've got female artists, it's always particularly egregious because they think that men actually notice when women wear makeup. No, if men notice women wearing makeup, it means the women did the makeup really, really wrong, for starters. And secondly, men's perception of women is not significantly improved by makeup generally. The hair probably has a stronger influence, because if your hair is really scuzzy, it's very obvious to everybody. But
if you're pretty enough, you can make messy hair look good.
Yeah, and if you've been sleeping decently, your skin will take care of itself for the most part. Like, the argument will often be made that, oh well, the difference between the fantasy women in the medieval fantasy setting is and in real life is that, oh, the ones in real life have spent an hour putting on their face before they left the house in the morning. That's why it looks like there are more attractive women outdoors when you go and begrudgingly leave your house to do something. But I think that that's actually female artists projecting how ugly they feel when they haven't put their makeup on, which is why everybody looks like they've rubbed their face in a bog before going out of doors. I think that the most egregious case of this, in some sense, is probably Skyrim. Right, the default faces for everybody are covered in mud for some reason.
Yeah.
Like, do you think people in eras before the modern era just never washed their face? Like, just wouldn't splash their face from a basin of water or something? You
Like
think that just never happened?
like they go out in the stream in the back and at least cup their hands and rinse the dirt off. Come on.
I think that there's a certain amount of both insecurity and deliberate uglification of characters in video games, especially female characters, but you do see it with the male characters as well.
Like just because you're a fat cow that looks like she has mud rubbed all over her face because she does her makeup wrong every morning doesn't mean all the characters you make have to look that way.
But yeah, the difference is, of course, that there's almost always like a Bishonen, right? And even in Western games, there will usually be some sort of like Ikemen character who's super well done up and whatnot. Something that will usually not exist for the female character unless that character is a villain. Like the only conventionally attractive female characters in Western video games are typically the villainesses of the piece.
Yeah.
And they will usually, as a plot point, have that physical beauty marred in some way as part of the resolution of the plot. So everything about it just seems so weirdly vindictive.
Yeah.
But you know, there's a whole bunch of burbling about how I saw a bunch of there's threads about it online about people complaining that, like, statistically, almost every player romances the elf woman instead of one of the alternative options if they're playing a male character.
They just
Like, this
pick
is
the closest
uh,
thing to a normal looking woman and romance that.
and she is not pretty at all, but she is less overtly ugly than some of the other options.
Yeah.
And people found this. There's a certain class of person who found this highly offensive. Like, it completely indignant that why would you do that? Why does everybody pick this? It's like, well, I mean, she's not like a festering puddle of hate, and she's not constantly aggro, and she's not like actively uglified. So the best of a bad bunch is about what we're gonna have to go with here. Like, it's like, what are they trying to do? Is this some kind of weird social engineering experiment?
I think it's just a bunch of women that are insecure that got a job in game design and decided
Or
that
men that are for some reason trying to sleep with those women.
yeah, like I'm just sitting here thinking, my Final Fantasy character ain't exactly a knockout here. But she would be so extravagantly pretty in all these Western games compared to contemporaries. I think she could get away with getting with anybody she wanted because
Well,
everybody in these Western worlds is just so uggo.
well, my character in Final Fantasy was made to look plain. Like, I deliberately sort of drifted away from the conventional pretty character stereotypes because I sort of didn't really want to feel like I was playing a weird stereotype in a video game when I was playing my character. So I just made somebody who was kind of normie looking for a cat girl. So my character's got like kind of pallid skin tone, normal colored hair, normal colored eyes, a bit flat chested, just generally speaking, a generic cat girl. But she's still a knockout compared to the characters you find in Western RPGs.
Yeah, mine joined the cheerleading squad for Ulda at some point in her life. But yeah, it's just that Final Fantasy characters aren't, knockouts by any stretch of the imagination anyway, no matter how you make them. You can try your best, but you're kind of limited with the engine there. But any character, even the Femrose, can look better than most of the casts of Western games.
Well, I mean, the thing is that the femros are sort of like they're designed to appeal to a certain archetype of female beauty. They're sort of like the big Amazonian woman type of
The Step
type
on
of
Me Mommy
archetype.
vibes.
Yeah, like, and they do that because, you know, beauty is an aspirational thing, right? Like, in all cases, something is considered to be more of a property than another thing due to its proximity towards perfection, even if we couldn't tell you what perfection looked like. all things are better in a relative sense. And so that means that there is some sort of ideal. Now, the difference is, are you headed in the direction of that ideal, or are you headed away from that ideal? And there's something about the ugliness of Western RPG characters that shows that there was an intention to head very far away from the ideal. Like, their ugliness is not the ugliness of, say, engine limitations, and it's not the ugliness of, say, a character who has been designed to look plain. It is the ugliness of taking something that could have been pretty and then vandalizing it.
Yeah.
Because they all look like, oh well, we have a mannequin, sort of like a standard mannequin of female anatomy that we're going to add features to, but they will slap on some features and then they'll just sort of scuff them a bit to
It's
try
like
and make them look worse.
it's like okay, that's a good start. Now hold still, bust out a frying pan, and smack it in the face a few times.
Yeah, it just seems like a very bizarre way of doing things. Like, it's a bizarre thing to prioritize, and I don't think that the employment pool is so, single sex that it's all women who are insecure about the idea of making other beautiful women images in a video game. I don't really think that that's the case. I think that there's going to be a certain amount of people that take pride in their work and want to create beautiful things, because most artists do, right? Most artists are in some sense aspirational and not looking to create things that are ugly. But I think that there's a directorial influence, whether an explicit one or a cultural one, that says you're just not allowed to. Like, I don't. While there is a certain amount of malice behind it, I don't think that that is diffused evenly across the entire team. I think it's sort of an environmental thing. Like, in that culture, everybody is sort of afraid to be the guy who makes the pretty character, because then they will get sneered at by the rest of the team as being, oh, look at this guy, I bet he jerks off over pixels.
Yeah.
I think that what we're going to be seeing here is not parallel to sort of like a malevolent phenomenon of, like, this is the difference between the people who are like the critical race theorists who hate white people and want to see them all die, and the average sort of like apolitical person who toes the party line because they're afraid of the consequences of not doing so. They don't want to be the first one to say, hey, hold on, wait a second, that's not fair. And then you get the sort of the creeping thing, right? Where you've got, like, the famous case in America right now is about, like, what, university admissions or something?
Yeah.
Where you've got a scenario where everybody has just been kind of okay with something that's egregiously unfair because nobody wanted to be the first person to say, hey, wait a second, this isn't fair. This is fundamentally unjust, because everybody had been stewing in this environment where, oh well, there's all these things that are allegedly unjust that we need to do something to counteract, and it creates an environment where nobody wants to be the first person to speak up, even if everybody's thinking it. And there's like a handful of people who are in the key positions of power who, maintain the pegs holding that tent in place, but the average Joe knows in their gut that it's wrong, but is too much of a coward to say so.
If y'all have been hearing random J-pop cut in, that is the Blue Archive video autoplaying, because for some reason that tab, whenever I tab through my tabs, will autoplay that video.
Oh, okay.
Just figured I'd let the audience know what the heck that is.
Yeah, the music is a Claris song, and I'm sort of surprised about that because I thought Claris was dissolved as a unit years ago. But I guess they must have just remade it.
Maybe.
I mean, J-pop stars tend to be pretty interchangeable. You can just put another one in if one of them retires or graduates or whatever you want to call it. They call it graduation for idols, right? Generally speaking.
I think so. I have no idea.
Because retires makes it sound like they got old. Although that is the case a lot of the time, is that they just age out of the. Out of the biz.
Yeah. So, TLDR, your game's ugly, your women's ugly. Make pretty women again.
It doesn't have to be this way, man. Like, there's a huge industry of like, particularly with anime games, which are being sold entirely on the beauty of their female characters. So
Like,
you can do it, and you can make a lot of money doing it too.
if you're allergic to big honkers, that's okay. That's fine. You can still make the ladies pretty without them. They help, but you can get
Well,
there
I
without
mean,
them.
2B wasn't known for her huge honkers, was she?
No, she was known for a huge badonkadonk instead. Like, you don't need to oversize their assets, and you can still make a pretty lady. Like, none of the Mikote in Final Fantasy have particularly gifted in any asset area, even if you crank the slider all the way up.
Well, they had bigger butts in 1.0. This is a major point of contention when 2.0 came out.
Yeah, but
It's like, what are people protesting that their Mikote girls' backsides had been flattened somewhat?
yeah, so but I mean, you could still make a pretty Mikote. My girl is uh looks like she could try out and be on the cheerleading team. It ain't hard.
Your cheerleader obsession is probably the most American thing about you. Other people don't even comprehend that.
Yeah, well, at least it's a healthy thing. Like, it's a normie thing. It could be worse. It could be maids, or
It's like your only normie thing.
there could be a lot of not normie things that go with it that I could have instead. But no, we'll go with cheerleaders.
Feet.
That's
There's, there's feet people. Like I still have difficulty grasping that because like feet seem like sort of an intrinsically ugly part of the body.
yeah, there are feet
It's like
people.
you've got sort of stubby mutant pseudo fingers attached to the end of flaps on the end of your legs. Like weird, super weird.
Yeah, it's just anyway, we're blabbering on. We should probably wrap it up.
Yep, yep. I'm sure we've managed to offend enough people for one day.
Yep. All right, folks. Email topic of the week. How would you go about fixing the Western video game industry by finding a way to get them to insert pretty ladies? What type of pretty ladies do they need? What do they need to do to the current Uggo ladies that look like, mashed potatoes at the bottom of a frying pan?
Very descriptive.
All right.
It's just so just like how are you supposed to grow attached to a character who you can see was made to look slightly repellent? Like, this is not how you go about this task. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Like I don't, it's I suppose it could be that they all had a Cal Arts education and they think that Cal Arts characters are the pinnacle of beauty. I don't know.
I don't know. They're all Uggo. Anyway, folks, I am sick as a dog and need to recover. And hopefully next week we have a Fern again and we'll have a normal show. So I'm not going to remember any of this week. It's all going to be in a painkiller haze.
Oh man, that's going to leave me with the only responsibility here.
All right. We'll see you next week. Sayonara. Bye bye.